Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Slushy. It's me, Cube.
And it's Phoenix.
This is one of those times again where I'm doing gestures with my hands for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, podcasting is a visual medium.
I wish. No, I don't wish. Don't look at my face. Hey, and especially don't look at me right now because we're going to talk about something just a little bit shameful, just a teensy, but I fucking love it. It's time for Hanako-kun.
So what is Hanako-kun?
Okay, so it's called Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun, or the localization calls it the Toilet-bound Hanako-kun, which they shouldn't have called it that, and multiple people have told me that they were turned off by the title, and it's all their fault.
Yeah, I mean, it does, anime is anime, so you hear something like that and you sort of go, I'm worried.
Yeah.
But it's got nothing to do with toilets, has it?
No, so, I mean, the Japanese title, Jibaku is a kind of spirit, so it's like Spirit Boy Hanako-kun. So Japanese people would kind of get the idea that it's related to Hanako-san, which is an actual urban legend, and so they might make that connection, but also Hanako is just a name. But so it's not, you didn't have to stress the toilet aspect specifically in the title, but you chose to.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned on the previous Winter Taster, this was an anime that just finished this season. It was a one-season adaptation by Studio Lerche, but I was kind of interested by the first few episodes. I was like, it's okay, it's kind of cute. And then I went to read the manga, and the manga art was stupid beautiful, and it makes me really mad. And so now I've watched all of the first season that finished, and I've read all of the manga so far. And it's, ooh.
Just to be clear, why does the manga art make you so mad?
It's so fucking good. Like the way she draws hands is so like good and animated and understands her structure so well. And the art is very like much more stark black and white than a lot of manga with really bold lines, which is totally my shit. And oh man, it's just, she's just really, I should say, the writer and illustrator are two different people who work together under the pseudonym Ida Iro or whatever. And I'm assuming they're girls because of how much like fucking teen girl romance energy this has, but I don't technically know.
Okay. But you get that energy.
Yeah. Because, okay, so you also have consumed a bit of this now.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the anime, but I did, I've read up to about volume 4.
Oh shit.
Which is like, what? That's like maybe a quarter of the way in?
Yeah, that's a decent amount in. Well, because, this is an ongoing manga. I forget how many, I think like 10 of them have been translated into English officially, and there's 12 volumes total so far, and it's one of those ones that runs monthly, so it probably takes a while to make a volume.
But the production quality is high enough that you would expect, this to be a difficult one to put together.
Yeah, because, so what do you think of the manga art?
Oh, the manga art's amazing. Like it's so pretty to look at, and it doesn't feel like your average sort of like generic anime art, which you sort of get used to reading some manga. But no, it's very pretty in a way that most aren't.
Yeah, because like Hanako-kun, as we talk about it, you'll understand like there's a lot of things in it that if it was presented differently, I probably wouldn't like. Like if this looked like Black Butler or some other generic looking comic for girls, I would probably be like, well, fucking whatever. But because it's just so stylish, I eat it up. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah.
Now, when you talk about the things that you might not like you say, this is very teen girl romance. It's very romance manga in general, like the comedy in it, the sort of the story structure, how it's all sort of falling out. Is that what you're sort of talking about? Like,
yeah, and there's a few things. So the main thing would be there's some slight twincest energy. And there's this other stuff, like there's definitely shit in this that it's very, how people used to have all these conversations about where they would pretend that the main problem with Twilight was that it was very problematic. Like, oh, what if it encourages girls to get into actual relationships with vampires and they won't treat them right, whatever. It definitely has stuff like that. I mean, she is in this relationship with this ghost boy, and I'm not going to say that everything about it is, objectively okay if it was in real life, but also it could never happen in real life. So whatever.
Yeah, it's very clearly a fantasy.
Yeah.
Again, we've mentioned this before, but in the same way that Sailor Moon, the manga, had Usagi doing some pretty extreme things, but was clearly within the context of this is a romantic fantasy. This isn't like she's not saying that it's a good idea to spoilers attempt a suicide pact with your older college boyfriend.
But yeah, you can just like feel that teen energy and be like, God, if I was 11 and reading this, it would blow my fucking mind.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? You told me that I might not like this, and you weren't the only person who told me that I might not like this. That people were concerned. I was privately DM'd by other people who have read it and said, "Oh no,
really?"
It said, "Oh no, yeah, I don't know if this is your thing." And like, so this is my question: what part of me doing, surprise listeners, 2 recordings of a podcast where I explained and defended my love of Midori Days, possibly the dumbest teen romance comedy manga of all time, made you think, oh, no, a dumb comedic romance manga with a weird premise. Nah, there's no way Phoenix will be into this. Nah, not his thing. Of course I like this! This is lovely!
Yay! Yay! I think for me, I was more concerned about you watching the anime because there's a lot of ways that adaptation just inevitably changes like the timing of gags and stuff. So it like the anime is a kind of a mixed bag in general. It has beautiful colors and it has like really good voice acting, but there's some cuts it makes. There's some things that get kind of reworked a little bit. And I feel like in the manga, if something's like a stupid joke, it's much easier to just kind of glance over it real quick and feel like whatever.
Yeah.
But if in the anime, you're kind of sitting there being like, this is kind of stupid. So I don't know. I didn't know.
You were worried. You were worried about what I was going to think of this.
Because it's so, it like really like, it's the kind of comic where like I was like blushing at some parts of the anime and the comic just from it's like, oh, it's so fucking cute and so fucking teen. And I can just like feel like that pure doki doki energy and it's just like
But it's also the sort of thing you had to be wary of recommending to another person because they may make judgments about you and the sort of things you like.
Yeah, like it's definitely not perfect, but so this is something that I think of as a good way to describe it now ever since someone brought it up in a watch party. It's like an RPG horror game. It's like someone grew up playing those and was like, man, I wish I could kiss a ghost from one of those. And it really feels a lot like that kind of energy. And so if that sounds fun and interesting to you, I would definitely recommend the manga most, but the anime is also worth checking out. The backgrounds, the color work, and it's so good.
They like obviously the manga occasionally will have like a full color page. Or the covers here and there, and I feel like the anime did a good job of replicating the feel.
Yeah.
The color choices and stuff, like it's I can't underemphasize this enough. It's a very, very pretty manga. Like, it's definitely worth looking at.
And the anime, it's the main problem with the anime visually is that it's barely animated. Like a lot of it feels like they were just kind of recreating the manga as directly as they could, and the characters will move when absolutely necessary.
I mean, I guess I can understand that a little bit, considering it would be so expensive to animate that style consistently. Like you would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'll definitely take this over them like just doing a more generic looking anime style and having it be more motion heavy.
Yeah, motion's overrated.
Yeah, whatever, man. I just want to look at the pretty colors. I've been grabbing so many of the backgrounds and saving to an inspiration folder. I want to learn how to do backgrounds exactly like this. So you want to get into talking about what actually happens?
Yeah, sure.
Yay!
I was going to say, I'm actually at a point now where like I don't know how far the anime goes in, but I almost don't want it. I don't want the rest of the manga spoiled. I want to read it.
Oh, don't worry. There's definitely plenty of manga after what the anime covers. Oh, okay. You actually you got to the thing with the fish, right? Where the fish come back?
Yeah, but I haven't quite finished that section yet.
Yeah, but that's the last episode of the anime.
Oh, okay.
But there's some stuff in the episodes before that are quite a bit after what you're reading. They definitely did some fucking rearranging.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Okay, so but it opens, and of course this is very funny after we did the Magia Record podcast because it opens on some Uwasa time. It's time for the rumors of the school's 7 wonders.
Yeah, this is a thing in the comic. There's two major anime out at the minute that are about rumors.
Yeah. And this is something that schools always have in anime. They have like 7 mysteries or 7 wonders. And I always wondered how common that is in real life, or if that's just something that everyone wants to pretend other schools have.
I imagine the people who are into horror crap like to make them up.
Oh yeah, and they're probably always like trying to get them going at their school. And it's like, no man, it's totally cool. Come on, tell all your friends about it.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, the most important one is number 7. It's Hanako of the toilet, which is a real urban legend about basically you knock on the toilet 3 times and you say Hanako, Hanako, Hanako. And I forget exactly how the actual one goes. It's on Wikipedia.
It's very similar to fucking Candyman, eh?
Yeah, or Bloody Mary or whatever.
Yeah, repeat it 3 times, all that stuff.
Yeah. It's the same kind of idea. A classic. So as the voiceover people are talking about it, you see our protagonist Nene, and she's walking in and she's knocking on the door and she's like, Hanako-san. But then who appears? It's not Hanako-san, it's a boy.
Hanako-kun.
Yes, the titular Hanako-kun. And he's like, it's me, number 7, Hanako of the toilet, yoroshiku. And he's in like a old timey, more military looking middle school uniform with the hat. And he's pretty cute.
I feel like you can just assume everyone's pretty cute.
Yeah, Nene is fucking cute as fuck. Like, it'll become a whole thing where her aspect of herself that she's super self-conscious about is that she has daikon ashi, which is like daikon legs, which is like cankles or like fat leggies.
Yeah, she thinks she has fat legs. Like in the manga I was reading, they translated to like radish legs.
Yeah, because a daikon is like a kind of radish.
Yeah,
but that's a very like half translation. Like that doesn't help.
No, I'm just confused now.
Yeah. But yeah, she got fat legs, but of course the way that it's drawn is just that she has like cute big cartoon legs and feet, and it's fucking adorable. And her hair has a gradient that goes from like light yellow to green at the bottom, like a radish, because she's my radish baby. So she summons Hanako and she's like, but it's a boy. And he's like, yoroshiku. And then the opening plays. And the opening is such a fucking bop. I keep looping it to work. And it's very good J-rock. And I like it. And the aesthetic of it is so fucking much like a Vocaloid rock song. There's a lot of like lyrics slapped on the screen. It made me feel very nostalgic. But there's one shot that makes, like, eyebrow going very high up, because it's Hanako tied up with ropes, and then there's like a different shadow Hanako looking figure like grabbing him from behind, and it goes on way too long, and it's like, what is this though?
Again, it's a teen girl fantasy. There's going to be some
self-cessed,
some odd horny aspects, I think, probably the best way to put it. Because like, again, like people, like with the Twilight example before, people made fun of Twilight a lot because Twilight is a very silly franchise, but like it's also there is also a lot of weird horny shit in that if you look at it closely. Like,
oh hell yeah,
like the whole thing with the werewolf falling in love with the main girl's baby while it was still in the womb because it was telepathic, all that shit.
Yeah.
This isn't an exclusively anime thing. I feel like this is partially just some female romantic fantasy thing sometimes.
Yeah, I kind of understand that feeling, especially like when you're young. It's like the idea of sexuality is so mixed in with all these other like weird forbidden ideas, and you're just still kind of like working out what it all means. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But there's still, obviously there's some aspects that I'm going to find stupider than others or more immersion breaking.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And but we'll get to that when that situation actually shows up in the anime or what that's a reference to. But so after the opening, she's talking to Hanako and he's like, what? I'm a boy. What you going to do about it? And he's like, what do you want me to help with? I'm here to help. That's my job. And she wants help with success in love with her beautiful Minamoto senpai, who looks like a fucking basic B. Whatever with this guy. He got spiky yellow hair.
Yeah.
But he's her crush.
Yeah, he looks very generic love interest.
Yeah, he looks kind of like Ichigo from Bleach, and his younger brother, who will be an important character. Also, for the longest time, I just kept calling him Ichigo because he's also an exorcist. So I was like, whatever, get out of here, Ichigo. But Hanako's like, well, I want to use one of like the safer options. Let's do this. And he just pulls out a love advice book, and he's like, let's get you boyfriends. And so he's like, well, this says that we should play to your specialties. So what are your specialties? And then it's like, I'm a gardener. And it cuts to her out in the garden where she has a cute different outfit, and it is cute.
Of course, the reason that she became a gardener isn't that cute. It's a bit sad, actually.
Oh yeah, so this is where we have to establish that Nene is horny as fuck. Nene is super boy crazy. She's always thinking about it.
Yeah.
And she's fucking dumb.
She wants to be desirable to men. So one of the things she latched onto in this quest was the idea of becoming like good at women's work.
Yeah.
So she gardens, she sews, she cooks, she does all these things.
Yeah, she's like, I had this specific crush. I did all this for him. But then when I finally tried to confess to him, he was like, what? Who are you? I don't even know you. Also, you have fat legs. And she's like, no. And she's like, it didn't even matter about him. Maybe I just wanted someone to like appreciate me. And so Hanako's like, what? So then anyone would do? And she's like, no.
That's the thing, because this confession only happened a few weeks ago. And
oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and Hanako's like, yeah, you're still thinking about it, aren't you? She's like, no, I'm not. And now I'm in love with this guy now anyway. He's much better.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not feeling super needy.
Yeah. I'm going to go with him, and the other guy will see me, and then he'll regret it. So yeah, that's where this is coming from.
So they get into a bunch of cartoon shenanigans where she tries to give him a little love note with vegetables. Or with plants, but it's just vegetables, and he's like, this is confusing. Why'd I get a love note with vegetables? Did a fox fall in love with me? What is this? And then Hanako steals one of his buttons and is like, now you can give him a button to sew back on, and it'll be very romantic. But oh no, he's too popular. Everyone else is offering their buttons.
I did like in the manga how like there's two women who start tearing their own buttons off, and then there's a dude as well who just rips his shirt off and buttons go flying.
That's such a classic thing in anime and manga. It's like even the boys and girls like him, or the other way around with the other gender. That's how you know someone's really desirable.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, let's make him a special bento. That's very romantic. And then what she makes for him is a fucking rad-ass, cute, horror-themed bento with a little monster guy and little ghost taco wieners. But he doesn't fucking appreciate it because he's a simpleton.
Well, I was going to say in the manga, he just thinks, well, clearly this isn't mine. Someone's lost this. I better go. They put a lot of effort into it. I better go find them.
Yeah, but until he opens it, like his friends are like, oh, that must be a gift for you, maybe from a girl. And then once he sees it, he's like, this is a lost item. This must not be for me.
Yeah.
How dare you? And then one of the last things is Hanako tries to get her to run into him with toast in her mouth, as is tradition. But she goes out too soon. She runs into someone else. It doesn't work out. It's a mess. So they're reconvening in the bathroom, and the bathroom in the anime, the bathroom is this is the most beautiful bathroom I've ever seen. It's always got like the greatest colors. The lighting is really nice. Like it has these stained glass windows,
beautiful polished floors.
Yeah, it looks so good.
You end up sort of forgetting that it's a bathroom. Like it probably stinks.
I want to live in that bathroom. And so Hanako's well, this all didn't work out. Why don't you just confess to him? And she's like, you suck at this. Why are you so bad at this job? And he's like, I don't actually get summoned that much. I guess I'm kind of a beginner. And she's like, God, stupid. And she's like, don't you have any more unwholesome ghost things you can do? And he's like, nah, I'm just a wholesome ghost. But then he goes looking for unwholesome items, and there's one of my favorite fucking gags, especially because. So in the anime, he has a very distinctive voice that I think of as Shinji's voice from Evangelion. It's that voice actress.
Right.
But she really fucking hams it up, and a lot of the gags are made way better by her because he's looking for an unwholesome item, and he finds a kokeshi doll, and he just holds it out to her, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" And he's like, "Kokeshi. It's a little sexy. Which it's kokeshi dolls are like these like two body round head. It doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid, but for some reason it the way that it brings me incredible joy.
I when I saw that in the manga, I assumed there was just some cultural reference I was missing here.
No, unless the joke is that it's shaped kind of like a dick, but I don't think so. I think it's just random.
Although it is weird that he refers to that as a little sexy, but when you see the other stuff he's throwing out of his bag, one of them's a porno mag.
Yeah, and one is the mermaid scales that he avoids showing her. So he didn't actually want to admit he had those two things. So he's like, "Do you like this kokeshi doll?" And it's just so stupid.
And she's unimpressed by this.
Yeah, she throws it out the window. Farewell, kokeshi. I'll never forget you.
Yeah.
But the mermaid scales, one of his... Oh, yeah, so he has these two orbs that he calls collectively Hakujodai. And I don't know what you call them. They're like some kind of spirit orb things. They haven't really gotten into what exactly they are or how they relate to him or whatnot. They can just kind of fly around and do things for him.
Yeah, there's they're what I normally associated with being an effect you see around ghosts in anime.
Yeah.
Like you see them in like Yokai Watch and shit.
Yeah, I was trying to look up what the fuck they'd be called, and it turns out that there's like fucking 20 different kinds of spirit orbs in Japanese mythology.
Oh, okay. Well,
they got spirit orbs for days. But one of them is trying to pick up the little bag of mermaid scales and return it to him, but she sees it, and she's like, "Hey, what is this, Hanako?" And he's like, "Whoa, don't touch that." And then she puts one of the scales in her mouth, and she's like, "I'm gonna swallow it unless you tell me what it is." and he's like, "Oh, that's a mermaid scale. If you eat one and the person you like eat ones, you'll be bound, so they say." And she swallows it, and she's like, "You lied to me, Hanako. You did have something after all. I hate you." And she runs off, but you can tell he feels kind of bad because she called him a Nutsutsuki. He's like, "What?" So she's running off to take another mermaid scale to her boy that she loves, and she's gonna go confess to him, but oh no, a different girl is already confessing to him. But what? He says that he has a girl he likes. That's mysterious. That'll never come up again. But then she looks at her arms, and oh no, there's mermaid scales on her now. And what's happening? And then you see her like sinking into darkness, and she's getting all introspective, and she's like, "I'm so selfish. This wasn't even about this guy. I don't even know his first name. I've been doing this all wrong. I guess this is what I deserve."
Yeah, like this is a thing that it came up earlier when she was talking to Hanako about it. Hanako was kind of like mildly trying to point out that I think this is sort of a rebound for you, and you don't even particularly care about this guy, because she's insisting that she's in love with him. And he's like, "I don't think you even know that much about him, to be honest."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just wants to feel like she's important to someone.
Yeah.
But then, so she like starts to wake up, and she hears him talking, and then dun, she's a fish. She's an adorable fucking little fish.
She's a fish now. She's in a fish tank. Haneko's like, I'm glad I found you. You're almost dried out."
Yeah, and I like that he prepared a little fish tank with a little house for her. Thank you very much, Hanako. And he's like, "Yeah, if you'd managed to get the scale to the boy, you both would have been half fish cursed. And that's why it's like a matchmaking thing, because you know what really brings people together? Being half fish cursed together." And he's like, "But people under the same curse share a special bond."
But because you didn't get him to swallow it, you took the full curse, and now you're just a fish. Sorry.
Yeah, and so she like admits to him that she just wanted to return her feelings.
Yeah. And she's also like, you know, he was like, "Look, I warned you. You get involved in supernatural stuff. Weird shit's going to happen." You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he teased. But then, oh no, here comes the big ghost mermaid, and she's like, "I'm here to collect my new servant. I'm a big ghost mermaid thing." And Hanako's like, "You're interrupting my business." And he pulls out his knife.
Okay, so yeah, he has a knife. It's like a kitchen knife.
Yeah, oh fuck, it's a certain kind of knife. I told myself I was going to remember this term, and then I didn't. It's a santoku knife, which is like, it's kind of like a butcher knife, but it's curved down, so it's really only good for like chopping up vegetables and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But he'll use it to stab.
Which is weird, because it's not a very good stabbing knife, really. Like, It's specifically not a very good stabbing knife.
I wonder if the mangaka just like, it's so generic to have like a typical like cleaver or butcher knife. I'm gonna give him a fucking Santoku. But you know what? It's good enough for him. He owns her immediately.
Yes, yeah. Beats this mermaid away. And like he's clearly he's defending Nene. Like that's the whole thing. Is like as much as he's sort of not saying that's what he's doing, he's not letting Nene be taken away to some sort of weird. Which like it's essentially what happens to you when you accept a wish from Ursula in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, it would be her typical karmic payback for what she was trying to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's like, what? So you want to be human again? And she's like, yes, I want to be a human again. Because she has a really cute high little voice when she's a fish. and he's like, well, I can still grant that wish then. And then he sexy swallows a mermaid scale.
Yeah, it's a bit horny, this bit.
Yeah, the mangaka fucking loves drawing mouths. She's got a mouth thing.
Yeah, so like he's saying that like, you know, there'll still be a price to pay. You realize that. And she's like, yes, I'll pay any price. And so yeah, he puts it on his tongue and he swallows it.
And he's like, I'll have you pay me back with your body. Ba, ba, ba. And it's like, what? What? But then she turns back into a human and he's like, I'm talking about physical labor. And he makes a little okay hand.
In the manga, even after she turns back into a human, there's a bit where he's like sort of getting right up close to her as he's saying, and now I'm going to take my payback from your next page. Physical labor.
Yeah, and he makes a stupid face. And it's like, what? Did you think I meant something else? You're such a perverted daikon. And it's stupid.
And she hits him. But that's the thing. She hits him.
Yes.
And she doesn't pass through him. She actually hits him and knocks him over. So why is that?
And he's like, yeah, see, I told you people with who both swallow the mermaid scale share a special bond. So I guess I granted both your wishes because now you're human and we have a special bond together. And they hold hands and there's a very romantic framing, beautiful lighting. And it's like, oh, now we're together.
It's just so... It's so fucking, oh no, now I have this bond with a ghost. Oh no.
Oh
what
no,
a terrible
I'm indebted to this horrible ghost boy. Oh, no.
Once you understand where this is coming from, it's like, oh yeah, this is just so cute.
Yeah, like this manga runs in a magazine that's like a quote unquote shonen magazine, but when you look at all the titles, it's in that weird vein of it's shonen for girls, which is a whole subgenre. And so it's also got like Black Butler and other like kind of like pseudo horror, supernatural, horny teen girl franchises. It's a whole thing.
It's the manga equivalent of Supernatural, basically.
Yes. Except you don't have to ship the brothers together.
Well, hey, look, you said this show had like incest.
Oh no! I'm realizing mistakes. Oh no! Anyways, but she has scales on her arm, and it turns out that if she touches water, like the more water she gets on her, she might turn into a fish. So she gotta avoid that.
In the manga, at least, it's like depending on what part of her body gets wet, she gets scales, and then she just has to dry off, and the scales go away.
Yeah, it seems a little arbitrary, like exactly how much water it takes to turn her into a fish, depending on the scene.
Yeah, I couldn't work it out because like there's sometimes like, oh, she gets some water on her arm, now there's scales on her arm. She gets some on her face, there's a couple of scales on her face. But like, how does she shower?
There's a stupid gag that they put at the end of it's at the end of one of the chapters. Like they'll sometimes have little gag comics.
Yeah.
And they put them at the end of the episodes too. And Hanako's like, "Hey, we're gonna spy on Nene in the bath," and Ko's like, "No, I'm not looking." And then it's her swimming around as a fish in like a little tub.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that gets her human clean or what. It's stupid.
It's a stupid gag.
It's stupid, but I thought it was cute because the other guy's so embarrassed, and then you just see her fishy, and he's just like, "What?" Fucking dumb.
I was going to say, in those gag comics, Hanako tends to be hornier than he is in the rest of the comic.
Yeah, they tend to be more like stupid shonen gag things.
Yeah, they're all dumb sex jokes. Like particularly the one that I read that was about Hanako teaching Ko how to spell Nene's name.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like, it's this really complicated joke. They're like, it only works as a Japanese language joke. So they have to there has to be like a whole page on the next page that explains what the joke was. It's basically that, like, look, with the
like sub symbols in the kanji.
Yeah, the sub symbols in the kanji in Nene's other name. Essentially, they have the same phonetics as someone saying, "Hi, sex, yes," which is how he teaches him how to remember it. Which, yeah.
Is dumb. I do like in one of those gag comics, they're talking about like, what do you think her bust size is? And she's like, oh, boys, of course they talk about that kind of thing. Silly. And then her legs come up and then she attacks them because she's very concerned about her own boobs and also other people's boobs. Actually, I think Nene has a kind of a boob thing along with a leg thing.
Yeah. She's just horny.
Nene is so fucking horny. Yeah, like all good shoujo protagonists, she's like at least a little gay, like Usagi or whatnot. You got to be at least a little gay.
Yeah, it's true.
It's important.
Yeah.
But so the episode ends with I like a lot of the episodes end with the ending music starting to play in the background, and someone turns on a radio and it's like, have you heard about what happens when items go missing? It's Yosei-san. Ooh, the rumor of Yosei-san. And then a hand comes in and turns the radio off and the ending plays and it's nice. And the ending is, it's a pretty song, but the animation is whatever, and I usually skip it. I'm not here for that. I'm here for my butt rock. But that's the first episode, pretty jam-packed with content.
It does move quickly. Even in the manga, it's a quick-moving story. A lot happens. It's well plotted.
Yeah, like that's a hefty first chapter. I know a lot of first chapters are longer in general anyway.
But even it's just the way it's paced. Stuff's always happening. It's good. It's got a good clip to it, which I like.
Yeah. And so episode 2 starts and Nene is cleaning the bathrooms, which is her like go-to thing that Hanako makes her do, is keep his bathroom nice and clean.
He makes her clean like a lot of the different bathrooms in the place, doesn't he?
I don't know about that. I always assumed it was just the one bathroom, but I think all of the bathrooms are technically his territory. So maybe.
Well, in the manga, she mentions that like, you already had me clean all the other bathrooms. Like she's gone all around the building cleaning different bathrooms on different days.
That might be the case then, yeah.
Yeah.
Gambatte Nene. But she's like, can I leave a bit early this time? I have a date. And she describes her date, and it's clearly not a date. It's a boy getting her to do work for him. It's like, oh, I'll be stapling papers, and he'll leave early, but he's cute.
Yeah, yeah. She's like, oh, look, he's so shy. He can't hang around for very long. And Hanako's like, I'm pretty sure he's using you.
But the other thing Hanako do is, this is one of the first times where Hanako takes fucking every excuse to touch a Nene. and so he like drapes himself over her and he's like, you should just stay with me. I'll treat you better than that guy.
And he's touching her and oh no.
Oh no, personal space, Hanako. Like, later a character compares him to a cat, and like now during scenes like this, it's all I can ever think of. He's just a fucking cat. Don't go outside. Pay attention to me. Look, I'm on you. Whoa, I guess you just gotta pay attention to me then.
Yeah.
So she's back in class and she's supposed to read from the book, but suddenly her book's missing. And then she notices that her skull brooch that she always has on her uniform is also missing. That's mysterious. But then her friend Aoi tells her about Yosei-san, the rumor of Yosei-san.
She has this friend Aoi who's kind of part of her function is to be the one to tell Nene about the rumors because she doesn't know anything about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a rumor delivery device.
Yeah.
But she's pretty cute. She has hair like the classic Nurse Joy, but purple. And she says, so Yosei-san, she'll steal, like, whenever your things go missing, it was actually taken by Yosei-san, but you must never look at it or you'll die. Woo! And they notice that other students are also missing a lot of things that are important to them. But then, oops, Aoi accidentally spills a bucket of water on Nene because she was watering flowers, and so Nene has to run off before she turns into fish. But she doesn't actually turn into fish. She just gets kind of scaly. But she's like, oh, I ran all the way to the old building. Oh, what's this totally not suspicious trail of missing items leading into this dark room? I guess I'll just follow all these missing items. Oh, look, there's the book. Oh, there's my book. Oh, there's my brooch. Oh, there's a bad thing in this room. I can't believe it.
This one was speedy.
is a big blob covered in eyes, and she's like, whoa, no, I'm being attacked. Whatever will happen to me now? And then Hanako's like, get it, Hakujodai, and his little spirit orb comes in and just immediately dissipates it. And she's like, oh, he saved me again. And the monster turns into the mokes, who are very important. They look like little marshmallow peep bunnies, and they like to steal things, and they have, in the anime, they have really cute voices, and they're adorable.
They're pretty cute, yeah. They tend to talk in like, they don't finish each other's sentences, but they all sort of will say, yep, that's me, yep, like sort of all speak together in like a chorus.
Yeah, they'll say like really quick sentences and stuff. And so she's like poking one, it's like, yeah, man, oh, like stop it. and it's fucking cute. And so the Hanako's like, rumors, they can change the nature of an apparition. If like a bad rumor spreads about an apparition, it will actually change how it works. And he's like, Yashiro, will you help me? Because all I can do as a spirit is eliminate the apparitions once they get dangerous. But you, as a human, can change their rumors and save them from becoming evil things. Oh, help me, Nene. This is your quest.
So what happened to the moke was that the basic idea is that they're not violent. They didn't want to attack her. But because the nature of their rumor now, as they are known, is that they're dangerous and they'll kill you if you see them, they have to attack her, and they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So after they're dissipated and busted up into just little very like loosely animated cartoon buddies, they're very sorry. And they start giving her candy?
Yeah, they're just constantly offering candy, which I love. A lot of times, like, there will be 3 moke, and, like, the first 2 will say something, and the third one will be like, want a candy? And it's fucking cute. Yeah. Because they have no arms even. They just have ears that they hold things with.
Yeah.
The bippies. And she's like, yes, I'll change the rumors. And she's just holding a lot of bunnies. And it's like, yeah.
And so her change to the rumor is that she hears people talking about them, and she gives them a piece.
Wait, you're skipping their romantic rooftop encounter.
Oh, sorry.
Because she follows him out onto the rooftop, and he's like, this is nice. It's like having a friend again. It's kind of nostalgic. And she's like, you know what? Like, I'll be your friend Hanako-kun, because she's been calling him Hanako-san, like the urban legend. And there's that really cute panel of them and they both have dot eyes, and it's cute as fuck. and the wind's blowing, and I love them. And then now you can say what the.
If you can't tell. Cube really likes this show and comic.
They're my babies. They're so in love.
She's bullied everyone she can on the Discord into reading it, and now everyone's reading it.
You don't understand. They're babies and they love each other.
We had to make a separate channel because she was just taking over the anime channel.
They love each other, but also they're babies. And nobody's been watching it because it's on fucking Funimation only, but you can watch it on either Funimation or Hulu, and it has a stupid name, and there's a bunch of other like bigger anime that season, and so there's nobody I can talk about this shit with, especially like the manga, which is so good, and I want to talk to everyone about all the stuff that happens in it, but nobody's read it. Everyone has to read it, so I have allies.
It is. I mean, that's fair. It was a packed season last season, and yeah, what is it about fucking Funimation? Like no one has it. no one's willing to pay for it. Despite the fact they do have some good anime on there, but like it's just like it doesn't come as part of a package. So unless it's on Hulu, so no one seems to ever have Funimation.
And some of their stuff is only on their website and not even on Hulu. Some of their stuff is on their website and Hulu. Some of their stuff is both of those places and also on things like Verve and Crunchyroll. I don't know what determines all of those things. I guess Hanako-kun is just something that nobody else wanted, but they shoulda.
Anyway, the rumor. So she changes the rumor. She overhears some people talking about what were they calling the moko? The moko again?
Yosei-san, the fairy.
They're calling her the fairy, and she hands these people a piece of candy and says, "Apparently, if you carry around a piece of candy, it won't attack you." And then so they go, "Oh, that sounds nice." And so she's very subtly changing the nature of the rumor to be something a bit cuter.
Yeah. And then there's like a really cute and now I need to go to my friend's place. And then the girls see her going into the bathroom and they're like, your friend's in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And that's the end of that chapter / half episode, because this follows that pattern where usually it's like, 2 chapters per episode.
Yeah. It's a pretty good rule of thumb.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I always, like I said, I always felt like this was a little more dense than other manga, so I'm surprised that it keeps that same adaptation pacing.
Do you think it's a bit too? Do you think the anime is a bit too speedy, or?
No, I think they do a pretty decent job. I don't know anything. What's important is that it's time for the Jacob to arrive of this tale.
Mm.
As in the boy who's theoretically the alternative love interest, but there's no fucking way.
Well, I mean, that's one thing I have said people talk about with this comic is that, like, it does play... Part of Nene's makeup is that she is sort of into romance manga and sort of thinks about the tropes and of stuff a bit. Like, part of the reason that she was willing to go to the toilet stall in the first place was that she's sort of a sucker for this shit. And it does sort of play on the tropes and then undercut them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel... Because, like, part of this character that's about to turn up, like you say, you know that he's not going to be the eventual love interest. Like, he's presented like an alternative, but you know that's not going to happen. But the show sort of feels... The comic, from what I've read, sort of feels like it acknowledges that. Like you know he's not going to be, and we know he's not going to be, so let's just run on that assumption and it'll be fine.
Yeah, like, it's kind of cute that he has a crush on Nene, and we can enjoy the cuteness of that in its own way, but they're not getting together.
No, they're not getting together. Fine.
And something I do like, and something that I think makes, like, the dynamic between her and Hanako feel less creepy and stuff, is that both of these boys are physically younger than her. Obviously, Hanako is a fucking ghost. But, so he's, much older or whatever. But Ko is a year younger than her. He's last year middle school, and she's first year high school. And Hanako is also middle schooler. And I think that kind of adds a cute dynamic because she's like, no, I want an older boy. and so she's like, these boys are way too young for me. They're like a year younger than me.
And they have to keep, Ko keeps calling her senpai as well.
Yeah.
It does change the dynamic a bit. It's funny.
Yeah. It's cute.
And it is substantially less creepy than fucking like Sailor Moon with the middle schooler dating a fucking college boy. Which, I get it, that's the fantasy, but it's you can't watch it and not go,
yeah, especially nowadays.
Yeah,
it's like,
no.
Where you have to worry more about people who are watching that from the guy's perspective.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Whereas I'm not worried about people watching this from Hanako's perspective. Hey, any ghost boys out there, don't think it's okay to drape yourself over women.
This is setting unrealistic expectations for toilet ghosts.
But so you see this spiky blonde-haired boy, and he's like, Hanako-kun, where are you? I'm gonna exercise you. Pew, pew, pew. And where Hanako is him and Nene are having a fucking, like, rooftop picnic on a blankie. They're totally not dating. And she's daydreaming about a prince, and she's like, oh, what if there was a prince who, like, came to save me and may save me from my horrible ghost fates on, like, a white horse, and it'd be beautiful. And Hanako, like, closes the book, and he's like, I don't want you getting dangerous ideas. And it's like, anyways, and then he, like, grabs her chin, and he's like, you always have me.
He smushes her face quite a lot.
Yeah, he loves the fucking smoosh face.
Yeah, and that artist loves drawing it too, where you're just grabbing like Nene's cheeks and just sploosh, sploosh.
Yeah, she likes drawing squishy faces. She likes drawing hands. Let's bring these two bad boys together. But then, of course, Ko arrives. He jumps down from a roof to attack Hanako with his umbrella.
Oh yeah, he's got a big staff thing, and he yells his name and his mission, and he is every bit like the shonen protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at first, one of the things he always made me think of was Black Star from Soul Eater, which is like, I'm the generic shonen protagonist. What do you mean I'm not the main character? No.
Yeah.
So yeah, he at first he attacks with an umbrella, and Hanako's like, "What's this shit?" But then, oh surprise, it zaps him. There was a stupid staff, like a kind of Buddhist style staff inside the umbrella, and he's like, "Haha, gotcha." But then Nene gets between them, and she's like, "Don't hurt Hanako." And Ko's like, "Oh no, she cute." And he's like, but I gotta seal him. And he brings up something which they haven't really come back around to talking about, which is that apparently his grandmother sealed Hanako originally, which I'm wondering how that all went down.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and he points out, and look at him, he has a knife. That means he must have killed someone, and that's why he like is an apparition that has this. And then Hanako's like, guess my secret's out. But then he has to go super mode, which is that he transforms. He has a cape. He gets a bitchin' cape. That's his super form.
Bitchin' cape.
Yeah, it's good. It's like a mantle and a cape, and it does look rad. It makes him look much more intimidating. Well, you don't like it? You don't appreciate his bitchin' cape?
That's fun. It's just you're just so pumped with a bitchin' cape.
Appreciate that bitchin' cape. And also in the anime, I'm gonna have to get the soundtrack when it comes out because they do have really good like, oh, the big cool dramatic thing is happening now music. That's very good. And so he's like, "Pew, I was told by Kami-sama that this is my way of atoning for my sins, so I can't let you exorcise me just yet, boy." And he kicks Ko's ass really easily and puts a little seal on his staff, almost like a sticker, slapping it on there. And he's like, "But I mean, look, you're hurting yourself with your power. You got to be more careful."
Yeah, like he pulls Ko's hand back, and you can see where Ko was holding the staff. He's burnt himself quite badly because that electric lightning effect wasn't really hurting Hanako, but it was hurting Ko quite a bit.
Yeah, this is one of the moments that the anime makes weirder because he's like touching the burnt part of Ko's hand and it's like twitching, but like it loops too long and it makes it look like kind of weird. Like stop fucking poking his hand. But he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure you'll be a good exorcist one day, kid." But then he punches him in the gut and he's like, "I'm the winner."
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, and at some point it comes up that Ko is from the Minamoto clan, which is like a historical, mythological clan of people who slay demons, which you might know from Fate Go if you play that, if you're a Feen type person, as Raiko, the big titty lady. She's a Minamoto.
Yeah, I at some point in the comic as well, they mention Shuten Doji, the male demon with the scary face. That's not the Shuten I know from Fate.
Yeah, where's my sexy lady? This is bullshit. So Raiko hasn't shown up yet. I don't know what chapter that happens in. We get that hot crossover.
I will say, if you go look up Raiko from Fate, understand that Raiko in Fate is one of the most ridiculous titty waifus. Like, even by Fate standards, she's sort of absurd.
And her and Shuten are designed by the same guy, but Shuten's much more actually sexy. I like Shuten Doji. She's got an interesting design. Plus, she's a demon. That helps.
Well, yeah, that too. She actually, she has horns. She's clearly a demon.
Yeah, and she doesn't have balloon titty.
Yeah.
Which, is my preference. So after he beats Ko and knocks him out, Nene's all worried about Hanako, and he's like, "Oh, you were worried about me? Even though I'm a murderer?" And she's like, "And that's when I realized, I've been calling him my friend. I don't even really know anything about Hanako. I need to learn more about him." Bah. That's the sound of wind is blowing and shoujo stuff is happening.
I love your Nene voice.
"Hey, I'm Nene. Wow, romance, doki doki." And then the episode ends with the next Uwasa, which is a fucking stair Uwasa.
Yeah.
It's the goddamn stairs. Welcome back, Magia Record.
Yeah.
But this one is if you step on the fourth step, because of course 4 is the death number in Japanese, you'll be taken to another world.
So Rene writes Kaede's name on the 4th step.
Get out of here. Yeah, and then the Uwasa come, and then there's a continuity error, and the characters are gone. I miss you, Magia Record.
Do you really?
Nah,
no.
This is way better.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 3 starts out, and Nene and Aoi are hanging out again, and Aoi's like, "Hey, Nene, you're acting different lately. Do you have a crush?" And he's like, "No, of course not." And she's like, "Hey, you want to hear about another rumor? It's rumor number 2. It's the Misaki stairs. You'll be pulled in, and then you'll be dismembered. And every night, the stairs drip with the blood of its victims. Woo!" And then, oh, what a coincidence, Aoi gets called away to career counseling on the next floor. I'm sure that's going to be fine.
So she has to go up some stairs, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, and also she's been tending the flowers, and it's like, "Oh, these flowers are sure doing well." But then it comes in the next day, they're gone. And the one of the boys of the class is tending some shitty flowers. What the fuck? And no one remembers Aoi. She's been unexistent.
Oh no.
Oh no, she calls her mom, even her mom doesn't remember her. What could have possibly happened to her? Oh, but then Nene is like running all scared and she runs into the nya boy. She runs into a boy that she thinks is a handsome boy, but he usually has a nya face.
Ah.
And he's like, hey, I'm a handsome guy, but not really. And he hides an origami crane in her pocket and it's like, oh shit, what's your deal, Mr. Nya? But she goes to Hanako's bathroom and he's playing Hanafuda with the mokke, the card game, and it's fucking cute. Like a lot of times he'll just be doing random ass things with the mokke whenever someone comes in to talk to him. And so she's gonna explain to him that Aoi went missing, and then Ko runs in and he's like, yo, Hanako, what did you do with my 2 classmates? And so clearly some of his classmates have also been unexistenced. And Hanako explains that they were probably taken into a boundary, which is a special place that exists between the near and far shore, which, like the near shore being the realm of the living and the far shore being the realm of the dead.
Mm.
And he's like, if they've been unexistenced, they're probably in there somewhere. So Nene's like, oh, we gotta help Aoi. And she's all scared for Aoi. And so Hanako's, well, this is the perfect chance to squish that face. Just squish that face. And he just gets in there and he squishes that Nene face. And he's like, don't worry, I'll save him. And he's like, squish, squish, squish. And Ko's like, I'm coming too. And he's like, fine, but you're not my assistant, so I won't protect you. So you might become meat. And Ko's like, fucking whatever. So they go to the stairs, and the stairs are totally dripping with blood, which I don't know if that's like spirit blood or if anyone could see that, because you'd think that would bring more people.
You'd assume, yeah. Well, there is a whole thing about how only certain people can actually even see Hanako. Like,
yeah.
Ko can see Hanako because he's part of this clan that hunt supernaturals.
But why could Nene see him?
Well, it's because they got the connection, right? But he was choosing to show himself before that?
It'll be addressed later, after the events of the anime.
Okay.
But you just think about that. You just think about why she's such a special girl. She's so fucking special. So they see the blood on the stairs, and Hanako's like, well, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they're in a big old magical boundary world that's full of those torii gates for Shinto shrine things and a bunch of stairs going up.
Is this full of dolls as well?
Yeah, and there's dolls and a lot of other like random things lying around. And in any of these boundaries in the manga, there's shallow water everywhere because it's in the sea between the near and far shore. I noticed in the anime they stopped doing the shallow water, and I wonder if it was just too much of a pain to animate.
Yeah, it has to keep moving. We don't want that. Yeah.
They just said fuck it. But so yeah, it's like, oh, what's this spooky area? And Hanako's like, yeah, of course it's spooky. We need people to know about us to, like kind of help with our power as rumors. So we scare people because people remember scary things.
Yeah, he like, because the Ko's sort of saying like, what, you're evil because you scare people. And he's saying, well, yeah, but we only scare people because like, if we just went around doing happy things, that's not as memorable as us going around doing scary things, is it? We have to be scary.
And he's like, it looks like the number 2 has really gone out of her way and gone too far this time. So, but they get a spooky phone call. There's a phone there, and she's like, it's me, Misaki. I am a teacher, and I need my right arm because every day I use it to write with chalk. So find my right arm for me. It's time for fetch quests. And she hang up, and there's an hourglass denoting the time that they have left to find a right arm. Which this whole thing, God, this is so fucking RPG Maker horror game.
I was about to say it's a literal fetch quest.
No, yeah, like it's freaking there's like actual like collecting body parts, especially. There are RPG Maker horror games about this where that's a major element. So they're like, okay, we need to go find a decent right arm, and then there's a dumb boob gag for a while.
Yeah.
Because Hanako finds like a porny mag and is showing it to Ko, who's all embarrassed. And then it's like, geez, boys sure love their big old boobs. And then so when they've all collected the different arms that they like, she has a stupid cartoon padded bra. And they're like, are you okay, Nene? And she's like, what? Is something different about me?
And then it falls out. And it's...
Yeah, but what I do like is that when it falls out and she throws it away, Hanako just like puts his hand on his shoulder and he's like, we don't have to talk about this ever again. Which is kind of cute. But the arms that they collected, like she collected a very normal doll arm, and Ko collected like this buff ass arm, and Hanako collected a robot arm. And she's like, you two, you did a horrible job. You just collected whatever you thought was cool. But oh no, because they've been fucking around, they're out of time. Oh no. And so some giant scissors come in and attack with their snips.
Big scissors. It's time for the most anime of weapons.
I told you, they're so fucking hot. This is such a hip manga. But anyways, Big Head Scissors comes in and they're attacking Nene, and Hanako has to sweep in and save her. And he does like this big like attack where he like kicks the pin out of the scissors to make them fall apart. And the anime tries to frame it very dramatically, and it kind of looks funny.
I was going to say, because in the manga, I got the impression that it was meant to be kind of a joke. That's all he did. Because there's a big dramatic like kick shot, then you just see these little panels of like ping, and they fall apart.
Yeah, I do think that's there, but like the anime does a lot of, because obviously they have minimal frames, but the way that they frame it, the camera goes like dramatically like up and down, and it's like calm down, this is funny. I don't know. But he manages to kick the scissors, but he's like, it's not done yet. It's still coming, and there's dolls attacking now and grabbing at their legs, and they're like, oh fuck, we gotta get out of here. But then the moke show up, and they're like, we brought the arms, and Ko grabs one of the arms and slams it into the offering box, and it's accepted, and they're let through the gate, and they're safe for now.
I do like in the manga how like from this point they just sort of they montage the rest of the fetch quest, which I was grateful for.
Yeah, after the next call, because the phone rings again, and it's like, give me my left arm this time. I always clap my hands together before going in for school. And Hanako's like, hey, number 2, it's been a while, but she doesn't respond to him. And they're like, Hanako, do we have to keep doing this fetch quest? Isn't there can't we do something else? And he's like, well, we could find her Yorishiro, which is like a special item that is the source of their power and lets them be super powerful in their boundary. And if you find it and destroy it, then they'll be weakened. And they're like, okay, well, where's that then? And he's like, it's probably at the deepest part of this labyrinth, so we probably just have to keep doing the fetch quest.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, yeah, they skip past the rest of it, so don't even fucking worry about it. And so this is where the episode ends, and there's like a dramatic, you kind of see her, the spirit of the stairs, and it's like, woo, end of episode. So then next episode you get the reveal of, because they come in and there's water on the ground, and it's kind of this dark space-like area on top of all these infinite stairs, and they see what their labors have wrought, which is their doll that they made, and it's made up of all the parts that they've collected, and it looks fucking ridiculous, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's like it's got a broom for an arm, and the torso's weird, and it's a wheel for a leg.
Yeah. But I love that, of course, Nene is like, the bust and the left leg are okay. And of course, like, it has big boobs. And it's like, fucking Nene, calm down. This isn't important, Nene. and so the lady arrives. And so number 2, she's like this lady. She's blonde. She's got this big, very important bow in her hair that kind of looks like 2 big ears, kinda. Just kinda. And she's got like a traditional kimono on, and she's very dramatic looking, and they're like, oh shit, and she runs over to the doll, and they're like, this isn't
we tried our best.
Yeah, and she thinks it's great, and they're like, what? And she's like, oh, thanks, I have no idea what a human is made of, and so this is really helpful to me, thank you. And so she tries to cast a spell on the doll. She's like, get up and move, Misaki. And the doll tries to get up and walk, but it's a disaster, and it falls apart. It's a nightmare.
I was a bit thrown by that, how like she doesn't know what a human looks like or how they work, but
yeah, so that makes you go,
yeah, she's very clearly a human. I was like,
yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm sure it won't ever. So and then it's like, but were there other people that came here before, like my friend Aoi? And she's like, oh yeah, they should be all around you. And oh no, they've all been turned into dolls. They're doll people. You see a doll with Aoi's hair, and it's like, oh no,
they were the dolls the whole time.
Oh shit! But they're like these ball jointed dolls with the kanji for 2 over their face.
Yeah, and she runs over to one that has Aoi's hair, and she's like, oh, and she shakes it, and her head pops off.
And she's like, ah!
This was kind of cool because it's like this was a point when it really it does feel like it's getting into legit horror stuff to some extent. I mean, like, obviously being turned into a fish was weird, but this felt like it was starting to escalate the scary a little.
No, yeah, it is creepy for a while there. Those dolls are pretty creepy.
Yeah, it's getting creepy.
But the apparition lady attacks with her scissors, and she tries to attack Nene, and Ko blocks it with his arm, and then his arm turns into a doll arm. And it's like a cute little puffy doll arm.
Yeah, it's great because it's framed at first like the cool shonen protagonist thing where he just takes the hit and his arm's bleeding and he's like, no, it's fine. And then his arm, poof, it's a stuffed doll's arm.
Yeah, he's like, what? And so he's like, what? And then he's like, Hanako, do your thing where you go cape mode. And Hanako's like, I can't. This is her boundary. I don't have cape privileges here. So Ko is fending her off while Hanako is trying to comfort Nene. And he's like, it's not too late as long as you don't give up. In a world like this, without life and death, people who don't know how to give up are unstoppable. And it's cute. And then is like, okay, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do anything. And he's like, anything? And then he ties her up and drops her off the edge of the platform. Because he's like, if it's not at the very top, maybe it's at the very bottom. Okay, bye.
I liked how that's the manga issue ended there, and the next one starts with like a sort of like a recap thing where she's telling the story like it's a cool adventure, and then she's like, and then I got kicked off a cliff. It was funny.
Guess I'm dead now. And he goes to help Ko with his fights, and the music's all awesome. And then it cuts away, and Nene wakes up, and she's on some shrine stairs, and it's like all nice and daytime lighting now down here. And she remembers that it's like, oh yeah, I dropped and I fell in some water, and I turned into a fish, and I guess I washed up here. And there's a bunch of moke around her, and they're like, is she dead? She's not dead. Run. Get out of here. And so she's looking around these stairs, and she finds a notebook. And the notebook tells the story of Misaki. And so the notebook is basically told from the perspective of like a little girl, and she's like, Misaki came and he was helping me learn how to write, and Misaki sensei he cut my hair and he is great and I like him and I think he likes me too. And then he's like, oh, I remember when I had a crush on my teacher, this is so adorable. But then eventually it's like, Misaki sensei didn't come today. Misaki sensei didn't come today. Misaki sensei didn't come today. And she's like, I heard a rumor the other day that someone fell down the stairs and died. Ooh, which was obviously, so that was Misaki sensei. Aww. But so this person isn't Misaki sensei. And yeah, it's pretty sad. And it's like, well, if Misaki's never going to come back, I guess I have to make my own Misaki. And then the lady arrives, and she's like, yes, that's me. And she has her big scissors, and she's going to attack with her scissors. And then it's like, save me, Hanako. And then his spirit orb comes in, and he's like, oh, I'm here to help. I'm super fucking beat up, though. And he's like, you gotta go get to her, Yorishiro. You gotta find an important item to her and break it. And she's like, oh, the scissors that he gave her to cut her hair, those are super important to her. That's probably what it is. And so he ties up the lady while she goes to get to the item, which is in like a offering box kind of area in this shrine steps zone. And she's like, you know what, lady, I think you didn't do this for Misaki, you just did this for me yourself. I kind of hate looking at you because you remind me of me. You think you're doing this for the guy, but no, you're just being selfish.
Yeah.
And she finds the scissors and she rips the sticker off of him, and Hanako goes cape mode. And he's like, number 2, you're gonna have to return your number seat thing. And he stabs her, and it's like, ba-bam, we did it.
Yeah, she's depowered.
Yes, but then you enter the flashback zone where you realize that she wasn't just a kid. She was this fox statue and an Inari statue that the teacher would always visit. And you see a group photo that the teacher is taking with all the kids, and they're like, why do we have to take it here? And he's like, don't worry about it. Hey, you come take the photo with us too. And he pulls the cute little baby fox spirit out of the fox statue and this little fox girl. And she takes a picture with them, and it's cute. It's a cute flashback, and that's why she didn't understand what humans are made of and stuff, because she's a fox.
Yeah, I was trying to... So, I guess this teacher could see spirits?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, he could also see spirits. This is one of those things where, like, God, I think I've been the reverse of spoiled by reading so much fucking bad stuff and watching bad shows, because the fact that he can see her, there's a specific explanation for it that you find out later, but they don't draw attention back to this. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, so that's why that was that way. That makes a lot of sense. And it's, it's this nice little bit of continuity.
Yeah.
Wow, competently written things. Amazing. I can't believe it. So Nene sees that flashback and sees a group photo with little fox girl in it, and then she wakes back up in the darkness of the school building, and she's like, "Whoa, what? Where's Ko?" And Ko has become a little Ko doll. He looks like a little chibi doll, and he looks really funny.
Yeah, he didn't. He lost the fight.
Yeah.
This is what happened to him.
So she's like, so he'll get better, right? And yeah, everyone's gonna go back to normal because now the Inari statue is here. She's a little fox. She's like a little white fox, and she's got a cute little round face. And she's like, yeah, I don't have much power now, so everyone's gonna go back to normal by the morning. And Hanako's like, apologize, Foxy. And she's like, no.
This is your favorite joke, isn't it?
Oh yeah, cause he threatens to turn her into kitsune udon, which is, like fox udon, but it doesn't actually have fox in it. Obviously, it has like, I think a piece of fried tofu or something, or just like friedness.
It has a type of fried tofu that the joke or the thing is that like foxes like it, which is why it's called kitsune udon.
Ah.
Yeah. But he's threatening to actually make udon with a kitsune, which is her.
Yeah. So multiple times he'll just like swing his little knife at her and be like, kitsune udon. And there's a much better time later. But so Nene offers her the photo that she has now, and she wants to make friends with her. And she tries to pet the fox, but then the fox chomps her. And she's like, I'm not going to be a friend. Also, my name's Yako, so don't call me Fox-san. Anyways, I'm out. Whatever. I'm very tsun.
Yeah. She's angry. She bites people a lot.
Yeah. But she's a cute, angry little fox.
Yeah.
And Nene, she's just so tuckered out now from all these adventures. And then Hanako comes in and he puts his arm on the wall above her like a little kabedon, and he gives her a little kiss on the cheek. He gives her a fucking little kiss on the cheek, and it's so romantically framed, and the art for it's so nice. And he's like, that's your reward, a little charm to make you feel better. And she's super blush, and it's so doki doki. We're only on episode 4. What the fuck? But then the little origami crane flies out of her pocket and returns to the evil Nya boy. And he takes it back to this dark room where Gumi is waiting for him, the Vocaloid Gumi. She, even after I had read the entire manga, I had to go look up what her actual name is because she's just Gumi to me. She has short green hair and she's like a pretty girl. And so the crane comes and flies to her hand, and it turns into a black spirit orb. And she's like, oh, good job, Koku Jodai. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's really funny to me because, of course, Hanako has Haku Jodai, which is white. Haku is white. And so, of course, the evil one is Koku Jodai, which is black. And it's very basic. Of course, the evil version has the black Jodai.
Yeah, of course. It's very simple, very straightforward.
Yeah. And then it cuts back to the Ko doll, and he's like, I think they forgot about me. That's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
And it's good. Fucking Hanako gave her a fucking kiss. Give her a chew. And then so episode 5, it opens and she's just thinking about that kiss. Thinking about that fucking kiss that he gave her on the cheek. And you see this boy named Akane, he becomes much more important in the manga, but the anime skipped over his first big arc. Sorry, Akane. But he's crushing on her friend Aoi, and apparently he's just constantly confessing to her, and then she will rate it on a point-based system. But it's very clear that she's never going to say yes. But that doesn't stop him.
Well, that's the other thing about Aoi is she's popular with boys, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, just in general. Yeah.
So, but this boy in particular is very dedicated. Mm-hmm. So she's just thinking about that kiss, and then she's like, "Wait, does he like me?" And it cuts to all these times, like, there was that time when he was like hugging me all over me, and there was that time when he fucking kissed me. And so it's like, does it mean he likes me? And then so she goes and explains like it to Aoi as best she can without, mentioning the fact that he's dead. And Aoi's like, that totally means he likes you. And she's like, fuck. But she's like, oh, but he's not my type at all, which becomes like her litany whenever she wants to deny the fact that they're in love, is that he's not my type.
No, he's younger, he's shorter.
Yeah, whatever. He's no handsome, charming prince. I definitely don't like him.
There was a panel where she was breaking down her type, which is her type is the tall, handsome prince, and the box that she puts Hanako in is like it has like a sort of an ellipsis, sort of fox-like.
Oh yeah, those were like wolves or something.
Yeah, they're like fox, it's got like ears and just sort of.
Yeah, and I like in her panel where she's describing various features of Hanako, it says 150 centimeters plus minus question mark. Like she has no idea how the fuck tall he is because he's always floating and has a hat on.
Yeah.
So Aoi's like, he's probably going to confess to you. You should just try going out with him because, you've never actually gone out with a boy and you're the kind of person who's likely to be taken advantage of by a cute guy. So, maybe you should just try dating a little bit. And she's like, oh, of course, Aoi has the good advice. And then Aoi mentions, oh, by the way, rumor time. I fucking love rumors. Have you heard the rumor of the confession tree? If you confess under the confession tree, it'll definitely work out. Ooh.
Yeah, and she points out this tree in the yard. It's a huge tree. And Nene is like, hang on, was that tree always there? So this tree is unfamiliar. It's very big, but it wasn't there before.
And Akane, the guy with a crush on Aoi, is over there, and he's practicing confessing to her with another boy whose name is Lemon. Because these two were from like a different pitch that the mangaka worked on, so I think they just like showing that Lemon guy because it's like, remember him? He's like the Team Blitz of this comic.
He's from the other comic that you might have heard of.
Yeah. I still just like him. So Aoi's like, go out with me. And Lemon isn't paying much attention. He's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, take it seriously.
Yeah, hits him.
But I wonder what that will lead to.
Oh, God.
So Nene's like, oh, I wonder if he's really going to confess to me. And then when the next time she's cleaning the bathroom, Hanako's like, hey, could you meet me by that tree? And she's like, the confession tree? He's like, so you know about it. Okay, well, see you there. And she's like, blush, blush. Oh no, I'm very excited.
I can't believe it's going to be my first confession.
Yeah. And then so she bursts into the classroom all excited to tell Aoi about it. And then of course now Akane and Lemon are dating.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a dumb gay joke.
Yeah.
Though it's kind of cute.
It's cute, but at the same time, every time the idea is thrown of someone being gay, there's still that attitude of, well, that's weird.
Yeah, because Aoi is like, well, I mean, I didn't want to date Akane, but now this turned out like this. I don't know how to feel. Whoa.
Yeah, she's saying, well, I guess I don't mind, but it's just, this is so strange. And it's like, she's conflicted.
Yeah, it's like, fucking whatever. But I like the cute pose that they do when they're like, we're dating now.
Yeah, that is silly pose. And it's just, yeah, it is a bit of a bummer that, like, it's still got that thing of... Yeah,
it's not as bad as it could have been, still not great.
Yeah. There's a bit later on where Nena asks one character if he's gay, and he's like, if you finish that sentence, I will end you. And it's like,
they actually cut that line from the anime. That was one of the good cuts. I was like, oh hey, nice.
Oh good, yeah, that is better. Yeah.
Hey, little thumbs up because stupid.
Yeah.
But somehow she still doesn't figure out that this is because the confession tree has magical powers.
Yeah.
And so she's still thinking about like, oh, Hanako, if only he could like take his hat off and become a magical, tall, handsome boy. And there's like an image of that looks kind of funny of like tall Hanako. And she's like, but I gotta go meet him by the confession tree. And she's looking at him from behind and she's like, well, I guess he's kind of cool in his own way. And she's all cute and things get very doki and the lighting's very romantic. And he's like, oh, Nene, you're here. Nene, I like you. Go out with me. And she's like, Kwa! and it just like goes through all her thoughts. It's like, it's finally happened to me.
But then, unfortunately, he whispers.
Yeah, of course. We all knew what this was actually about. But here's the thing. So he's like, hey, what are you doing? Hurry up and turn me down. And she's like, what? I'm sorry? But so I think he just assumed that Nene didn't like him. You see, he didn't realize that she might return his feelings.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. She like, he there's an explanation at the end of this that it might offer another explanation for what had just happened then. But yeah, when he says you have to turn me down quickly, and she sort of just stumbles over. I'm sorry, no. And then the tree goes, well, we can't have that. And the tree starts
yes,
roaring.
It's me. I'm a weird, funny mustache man tree. And I participate in real people shipping, which is the most horrible of practices. And he's like, no, you can't turn down love. Love is important. I'm gonna attack you, little girl. But then she gets protected by her cheek kiss charm. The little number 7 shows up on her cheek, and it's like, haha, you can't touch this. No. And then Hanako goes cape mode, and he puts his arm around Nene, and he's like, good thing I came with my assistant. And he wrecks the tree with his knife. And now the tree is small. He looks like a little broccoli guy, and he's like, boo.
Yes, yeah, and you're saying that, and Hanako's telling him off, saying, you're not supposed to meddle. Love is great, but you're not supposed to meddle in people's lives. Naughty tree.
Yes. And Hanako's like, wait, did you think something else was going on? I assumed you knew what we were doing here.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did you think I was actually confessing to you? Bleh.
Yeah, because she goes like, oh yeah, of course, I knew that's what that was about. It's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. And then she's walking away thinking, oh well, that's all right. I didn't really like him anyway. He's not really my type. And it's this in the manga. It's like there's this nice just sort of shots of like the sky and stuff. And Hanako's just sort of nattering away, and he looks over. She's facing away, and obviously she's sobbing.
Yeah, she baby cried.
She's crying really hard.
Yeah, and she's like, it's so stupid. I look like a fucking idiot. Why did you even kiss me that one time? I hate you.
Hang on, why did you think I was actually going to confess? And she's like, well, you kissed me the other day. And he was like, yeah, I was just putting a seal on you. And she's like, well, that was confusing.
Yeah, and she like hits him all cartoonishly. He's like, how could you? Ah! And so she tries to go run through the school gate to leave, but he grabs her arm and he takes his hat off, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. And he feels real bad, and he looks real cute without his hat, and he's just a little boy. And she's like, oh, without his hat on, he looks like a normal boy for the first time. And I realized I don't really know anything about him. And he hugged her, and he's like on one side of the gate because he can't leave the school grounds, and she's on the other side of the gate. And he's like, let's just stay like this until you stop crying. It's okay. And I'm like, yeah. These fucking dumbass babies, they love each other. Stupid.
I love how sucked into this you are.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like it's so rare that something just happens to really do it for me in that way.
Yeah.
But like, cause that was just the first half of this episode, and after the break, it cuts to. She's like trying to grill Hanako about various information about him for a compatibility quiz.
Yeah.
And they're on either side of Ko. And Hanako's like, protect me, Ko. She won't stop questioning me.
Yeah, it was like a horoscope quiz. This was her sneaky way of trying to find stuff out about him.
Yeah, she's like, tell me your blood type and your blah blah and your date of death, which obviously is not a compatibility quiz question. He's like, why won't you tell me any of this, stingy? And he's like, don't you have a crush on Minamoto senpai anyways? And she's like, oh, I don't know about love. I mean, he's kind of like an idol, you know? I just like to admire him from afar. He's just like so cool and kind. And then he shows up and he's like, oh, thanks. Thanks for saying that about me. And he's Ko's older brother. And it's pretty obvious because they look very similar. And there's this awkward moment with him and Hanako because he has a fucking sword. Which I don't know if that's like a spirit sword that other people can't see, or he's just allowed to carry a sword around school. It's unexplored.
I mean, this wouldn't be the first shonen property that had high schools where weapons are allowed.
Yeah, but at least Ko, hides his weapon in his umbrella. But so he takes Ko downstairs to talk to him, and then Nene has a moment like, oh, they have the same last name. And Hanako's like, you're stupid.
That is one of the things, is that like both Ko and Nene are kind of dumbasses. Like, I mean, they're babies, obviously, but they really are a bit dumb.
Oh yeah, no, Nene is still like cartoonishly dense in a lot of ways. But so Teru takes Ko aside. Teru is the bigger brother's name. And he's like, so why haven't you exorcised Hanako yet? I'm taking you off the case, kid. You're a loose cannon. And Ko's like, no, bro, just give me a little more time. I swear I can do it. Now, so you read the manga. So you know what happens next. They cut it out of the anime.
What?
The anime cuts from this to Nene researching the wonders in the library and the 4 p.m. book stack stuff.
So it's like, this is just meant to be like a teaser that something else is going on.
It's considered his brother gives him some more time, and that's fine for now.
Yeah, because like
that's fine.
We already know this isn't like a reveal because we already knew was meant to exercise him.
Yeah. But it's supposed to be like kind of threatening, just letting you know that Teru is a guy. But so having read the manga, you know that fucking what happens here in the manga is a whole 2-chapter arc where Ko is following Hanako around trying to figure out if he's bad, and there's a super fucking dramatic fight between Teru and Hanako.
Yeah.
And the anime cuts that all out completely.
That's weird because that's a big part of Ko getting more on side with Hanako to start with, and also demonstrating that Hanako is a nice boy who's doing nice things, like he's not an evil spirit.
Yeah, and the anime just tries to play it like, well, they had a decent time in the stairs together, I guess.
Yeah, that's not really the same.
No, and it's so fucking like it's one of the first really like dramatic things where Hanako is like really, you can tell that he's fucking torn up as shit.
Yeah, there's a really important bit where like after this following him around for a day. When I say following him around, like Ko attempts to spy on Hanako, and like he gets about 2 minutes in before Hanako just appears over and goes, "What you doing?" Which I like.
It's so cute.
But by the end of it, when Hanako's basically been going around and like collect the Mokyus are still stealing stuff because it's just in their nature. So Hanako's into like sort of sorting through it, and if he finds anything that he thinks is valuable, he returns it to the owner. And Ko's thinking about that and all the other stuff that he's seen Hanako do. And he tells him, you know what, fine, fuck it, I'm not going to exercise you anymore, I can tell you're good. And Hanako's like, yeah, but didn't you point out I was a murderer? And Ko goes, oh, it's fine, I'm sure you had a good reason. And he just breezes over that. And then Hanako sort of stops him and says, hey, and he pulls out his knife and he says, what if I killed you now? And he leers over, he knocks him down and he like stands over him with the knife and he's saying, what if I had a really good reason to kill you? Would that make it okay?
Yeah, and you can tell like he's making a crazy face, like he's all fucked up about it.
Yeah,
or not a crazy face, but like a really pained.
Yeah, he's gotten very serious, and it's like I think it's pretty clear he's making the point. He really doesn't like what Ko just said about how I'm sure you had a good reason, and it's not even necessarily just about that he doesn't think he had a good reason for why he killed someone. It's that he doesn't want Ko thinking that there should ever be a good reason for killing someone, because maybe that's the mistake he made. So he's like this is him. This is him making a point to Ko for his own good, in a way.
Yeah, and he's all torn up about it. But then
this is just as because he's now in this position where he's sitting over him with a knife. Bam! He's the older brother.
Yeah. He's got his sword, and he's like, "See, I told you about fucking apparitions, bro." And so there's a whole fight where he tries to exorcise Hanako, and Ko has to end up like dramatically saving Hanako, and like Hanako gets like very like fucked up during it. He gets stabbed multiple times, and he's like, see, like no matter what you think you are, no matter how good you might think you are, at the end of the day you're just a fucking dangerous apparition who could snap at any moment. You're a danger to people, you need to be exercised. And Ko's like, no, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna protect him, and I'm gonna become stronger than you, and maybe someday if I need to I'll exercise him, but I'm gonna decide that for myself.
And there's also an important bit you learn where what's the older brother's name again? Teru is saying to Hanako, like, you know, you were punished by being executed, but you won't accept it. You need to accept your punishment. And Hanako says, you flippin' living people are all the same. You all think that the worst thing that can happen to you is to stop existing. And he's saying that, he says, if you killed me, it'd be a release. I have things I have to finish. I really have to finish them. You have to let me finish them.
Yeah. And he like looks super vulnerable and like super earnest.
Yeah. And that's when Ko saves him.
They just cut all that out.
Yeah, and there's also sort of an important bit in there as well about how Ko's relationship with his brother, how he thinks his brother's super cool, And he also doesn't think he's ever going to be as cool as his brother because he knows he's kind of dumb. And even as he's watching his brother try to exercise Hanako, at first he's like, I've got to stop him. And then he's sort of going, well, maybe I should just let this happen. I mean, I'm pretty stupid. I don't know what's going on. I should just let my old brother make the decision for me and stuff. So it's like there's a whole thing in there about Ko's own fucked upness. He's like a belief in himself and stuff. And it's like, this is all important.
Yeah, and it's like the first time you really see Hanako be like physically vulnerable, like he almost dies,
Yeah.
and which is something that almost seems like, it's like maybe that's really hard to do, maybe that's not something that can realistically happen, but it really raises the stakes in a lot of ways, and it establishes that why Teru is so dangerous, which is key to a lot of later scenes, that you like understand that he's this actually dangerous person. So this don't need any of that.
I mean, I guess you have to cut stuff, but that's an odd choice.
Yeah, and it's like it's the foundation of like Ko and Hanako's whole friendship, which is like it's the only really big chance of that.
Yeah, because this is like in a chapter that Nene has nothing to do with at all.
Yeah.
So that's sort of relevant. Yeah.
Fucking weird ass choice. Part of me feels like they realized that they were just so bad at doing action scenes in this style that they were like, let's cut out as many of those as possible.
Yeah, because it is sort of a big action set piece.
Yeah. So I don't know. But so what happens next is what happened after that stuff in the manga, which is Nene is at the library researching the Seven Wonders because she wants to understand Hanako better. But she's like, this is all just like basic ass information. But then she drops a book and it's picked up by Gumi. It's Gumi's here. And I remember there's a shot in the manga that shows a lot of leggy. And Nene, of course, is like, wow, look at her leggies. And she's so beautiful. She's like a doll or something. Wow. And Gumi's like, green-haired girl is like, oh, you're looking about things about Hanako? Do you have one of your own? He's kind of like a cat, right? And it's like, a cat? And she's like, yeah, he's all needy and stuff. Is yours the same way? And then it's like, what are you talking about? Wait, I know this scenario from manga. She's my romantic rival.
Are you dating him? And there's a panel of her, like, Hanako, like, resting his head in her lap, just going, yeah. And her going, oh, you're so cat-like.
Yeah. Which is like, this is when I was like, oh yeah, he is just a fucking cat. But it's also funny because it's like, like, oh, I don't really like him. He's not my type. Is this girl my romantic rival? You better not move on him, bitch. So she's like, if you want to know more about that, you should really look into the fifth wonder. All right, I'm leaving. I'm very suspicious. And Nene tries to run after her, but she bumps into another suspicious-looking character who's a teacher that is very clearly not a normal person because he's got like black and white hair and he looks like Stein from Soul Eater.
I was going to say, yeah, every other teacher has looked like a teacher. There's no way this guy was anything but super sus.
I wonder if you've seen the flashback where you see his human Sona.
Yes.
I wonder if that's what he looks like to everybody else all the time. And if you can see spirit things, he always looks like this. It's unclear.
That's true though.
Yeah, because even back then he could do the thing.
Yeah.
So he was already supernatural. So, mysterious. So, but she's like, well, I need to know about the number 5 rumor. Better go to my friend Aoi. She'll know what's up. And Aoi's like, oh, of course I fucking know about that rumor. That's the 4 p.m. book stacks. And there's a secret place in the library you can only access at 4 p.m. that's full of books that describe the lives of all the students, living and dead. The living students are white books and the dead students are black books. But there's also red books, and those you must stay away from because it's dangerous. If you try to read a red book, something bad will happen. Woo! So that's that rumor.
Yes.
And the anime has a stupid scene here where you see green-haired girl with the nya boy, and she's like, I guess I won't need to interfere this time. And then it pans over to the evil shadow Hanako with his black kokujodai. And he's looking all like evil and serious, which is, it's not like, I understand that they want to establish that there's a evil guy that looks like Hanako, but it's kind of OOC for him.
Oh, okay. It's OOC for that character.
Yeah. Because he's like standing and he's dressed like Hanako, which he normally isn't, except for that one specific scene where he wanted to fuck with him. So it's just kind of a stupid seeding moment. Dumb, but that's the end of episode 5. Poo-poo. So episode 6 starts with Ko comes to Nene, is like, I also want to know more about Hanako because we just had a super important thing together that wasn't in this anime. And so I want to help you learn more about him. And then a butterfly flies in and leads them to a secret door to the secret book stacks. It's time to investigate the barrier. And this was the first one where there was no water on the floor, and I was like, you lazy asses.
Look, it's probably expensive to do.
Yeah, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. But it's all dark in here, and then one of the mokke arrives, and it's like, here, take this, and it's a lamp, and it's like, thank you, mokke.
What I like is that, like, that's helpful, but clearly this means they nicked that from somewhere.
Yeah, because they're always offering candy, which, like they must have taken from people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cute. I love them. So they're following a butterfly, and it leads them to Nene's book. It has her name on it. Woo! And this is one of the things that the anime makes way better because she opens it and it has a poem that she wrote and it's so fucking good. It's like, today I see Hanako without his hat for the first time. Even though he's not my type, I see a little glimpse of his humanity. I want to know more about his secret heart. But the way that it's read out loud in the anime is like, why? Doshite? Like in English. and then she's like, I want to know more about mysterious na anata no heart. And this is like the gratuitous English, and it is so cute. Especially because she wrote it Kokoro, but then the voice acting says it heart. And it's fucking cute. So yeah, she's fucking writing poems about goddamn Hanako. She loves him so much.
But it's also just such like a dramatic teenager thing to do. She writes poetry about her loves.
You basic bee.
Not even that. It's just, what a dork.
Yeah, she's so fucking dork. And so she keeps flipping. It's like, oh, past here is the future. But then the book starts to turn red as she's trying to look into the future. And she's like, what? Oh, wait, I see where I learn Hanako's real name. But it's turning more red and it's starting to like drip blood. And the evil shadow blob then attacks. And it's like, blah, you broke the rules. And Ko tries to defend her, but his staff is still sealed by Hanako, and he's like, curse you, Hanako. And then Hanako's like, you called.
What I did like was one of the other things she sees in her immediate future. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
She sees that she gets asked out on a date and goes on the date. But after one date, the man says, you have fat legs, and leaves. And she's like, oh.
Stupid. Nah, you pick better voice. So, and it's really cute because Hanako saves them with his cape and he slashes the thing. And then he's looking at Ko and Nene, who are standing right by each other. And he just like comes in and pushes them apart. And Ko's like, what are you doing? And then he's like, And then he puts his arms around Nene, like over her head. And he's like, nothing. And he's just clearly super jealous.
I mean, I think he's also picking up on the fact that Ko has a bit of a crush on Nene now as well.
Yeah. So he's like, don't touch my nene. Only I can touch nene face. And then Professor Stein appears, Mr. Whitehair, suspicious as fuck teacher, which is one of those things where, like obviously this character has been in the OP. So it's like, hey, it's that guy standing next to Yako in the OP. I assume he's one of the other rumor people. And he's like, oh no, look what you did to all of my books. And then another specter thing tries to attack him, and then a big old arm comes out and smashes it. And then he has a lot of arms. He's a Spider-Man. And he eats one of the butterflies. And he's like, blah, monster man, blah. I stick my tongue out because some people are into that, blah.
And he's like, what if I eat you? And they're all like, ah!
Oh no, don't eat us, Mr. Spider-Man, hot man. Oh no. He's not my type. I like him much more. I like his human Sona where he just looks like a tired teacher man. That's much cuter. He has better tired energy.
Yeah.
But he's aight. So he picks up the kids and Hanako's like, hey, don't bully them. And he's like, fine, Hanako, boss. And he clearly, like, for some reason, he sees Hanako as higher ranked than him. And his name is Tsuchigo Mori. And Yako, the little fox girl, arrives and she's like, I'm here too. And Hanako's like, yeah, we're all, we're the seven wonders and we might scare people, but we're also working to protect everyone. And Nene and Ko are like, wait, but there's only three of you. And also Yako was just attacking people. And it's like, so none of this is correct. And they're like, yeah, we don't care. And then Hanako threatens Yako and Tsuchigamori with a knife. And he's like, we're friends. And they're like, yes. And they're like, I guess he is the leader.
Yeah, I guess that part was true.
Yeah.
It was cute the way that because he says like we're seven friends who protect everyone, and they're like, well, clearly you're not friends because the spider guy and the fox hate each other.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, we're friends. Knife. And so Hanako explains that it seems like one of the seven is a traitor who's been working with a human to fuck up the rumors like they did to Yako. So his idea is to break all of their Yorishiros and they'll all be depowered. And I guess, whoever the traitor is, that'll solve that problem or something.
Yeah, it's sort of implying that they'll just go into standby for a bit.
Yeah.
Like they will power up again later, but for the moment, this is the simpler thing to do.
We gotta figure out who the snitch is. And then he's like, what? So it's like a rumor with someone like me working with a human? And Tsuchigamori is like, well, fine. I don't want to fight you guys, so you can destroy my Yorishiro, but I want to know some secrets from each of you, because I'm a curious demon like that.
Knowledge is power, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so they each take turns telling their a secret to him, and then it's like, when I was in middle school, I had a secret exchange diary with my crush, and he's like, 3 points.
Yeah, the way he's presenting the manga was quite good. It was like, 1, I know that. 2, no one cares. 3, you still do. You said you stopped.
Yeah, you're a liar. You still do it.
Yeah.
And it becomes clear that it's about Minamoto, and it shows her imagining like, oh, Minamoto, I saw you at the student council announcement, and you looked at me and winked at me, but you shouldn't do that. Our love is supposed to be a secret. and she's like smiling all coyly, and it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, and her brother and Ko's like, you have a crush on my brother? He's just sort of amused.
He's like, oh, you have an exchange diary with my brother? I didn't know that. He does not understand that she has a crush on him.
She's so fucking embarrassed, and yeah, she
was like, that was my big secret. She's very disappointed. And then Ko's like, okay, my turn. And he's like, okay, sure, whatever. And Ko's like, I'm really scared of Setsubun Oni masks, which is, you can look that up on Wikipedia. It's the most Japanese holiday ever because people dress up in Oni masks and you throw beans at them and you say, Oni's out, luck in. And it's very cute. But he's scared of those, and the Spider-Man is just like, okay, next.
I don't care about that.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And then they're like, Hanako, what about you? You need to do it. And he's like, pass. And they're like, what? You can't do that. And he's like, what? You want to know secrets about me? And they're like, yeah. And then that kind of gets to him. He's like, oh, friendship. Oh, no.
Yeah, but what's his secret?
Yeah, and he's like, ski. And they're like, what? And he's like, I like donuts. But I love it. Like he's like, I like donuts. Oh, how embarrassing. And they're like, donuts. How do you like that? Donuts. He said he likes donuts. And it's so fucking stupid. And Tsuchigamori is like,
It's cute because like the demon, the spider guy is about to be sort of like, well, this is shit. This isn't even a good secret. But then he realizes that the other two are actually really interested. Like they want to know, like they're asking like, what sort of donuts? What, like, do you like ones with icing or that sort of stuff? And then he spots that Hanako is smiling.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I did learn something interesting about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cute.
Also, just to be clear, this is not a Phoenix Wright donuts situation. He's actually talking about donuts. He's not.
Yeah, he likes donuts.
Yeah. He's not talking about like rice balls or something, and they've just labeled it donuts.
That would be awesome. In this day and age. Yeah, he liked donuts. So Tsuchigamori is pleased with this new information. So he's like, okay, fine. We can go destroy my Yorishiro, but only the little priestess there can come.
Oh no! Wait, hang on. In the anime, does he threaten them if they don't give him secrets?
Yeah, he's like, if you don't give me secrets, I'll spread embarrassing rumors over the PA system.
Yeah. So they're like, they are. This is the reason they're willing to chuck out these secrets. And at the end, when he says, "Okay, time's up," For a second, they panic because they think they've run out of time, and they both throw out two actually genuinely kind of embarrassing secrets.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, Ko says there's some food he can't eat that he finds disgusting, and Nene's was, I practice kissing on my hamster. Yeah, and he's like, I don't care. He makes a point of saying, it's clear at this point that neither of you two have any secrets that are worth knowing, so it's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, he likes this new Hanako information. And so he calls Nene a little priestess. And so Hanako's like, I don't know if I want her to come with you. Well, okay. And so he lets her go with Tsuchigo Mori into his more inner cave zone. And so she's asking Mr. Spider-Man as they're walking down the cave. Oh, and this is the part in the anime where they clearly, his arms, they'll just like stick out and not be animated half the time. And it looks really blatantly like, oh no. Because in the manga, he's obviously like walking with all of his spider limbs.
Yeah.
But in the anime, they just kind of hang off like puppet things.
Yeah.
So she's asking, is there any way that the future can be changed? Because she's thinking about that future horrible date she's going to have. And he's like, no, I've only ever seen one person do it. And she's like, that's mysterious. and then they get into his inner chamber, which is like a rock collection, which in the anime, they're all different colors of the rainbow. And so in the watch party, everyone was like, the Chaos Emeralds. He has them.
That's a pretty good gag.
Yeah. And so she's like, is one of these your Yorishiro? And he's like, it's this one. And she's like, oh, that looks like a shitty rock. And he's like, shut up.
Yeah, in the manga, she calls it gross. Like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
Crap rock. Is that really gross?
Yeah. He's like, it's a moon rock. And she's like, oh, a fake? And he's like, no, it's a real thing. I got it the day after the moon landing. And she's like, did you get it from an astronaut? And he's like, of course not. It was just a normal little boy. A little boy that they kind of show in a shot. And it's like, oh, gee, I wonder who that could be. And so she goes ahead and she rips it off.
She rips the seal off the rock. All of their little power things have a seal on them. And if you pull the seal off, that's how the power's taken away.
Yeah, it's like a sticker that says seal on it, which is noteworthy because Hanako has a seal sticker on his left side of his face that says seal, but it's white. But there's another character that has a black one like a Yorishiro. So she rips it off and it's time for flashback time like she got with Yako. But this one's much more important because there's a student and it's clearly fucking Hanako when he was a human. Mm-hmm. And the human Sona of Tsuchigo Mori is like helping him as a teacher and he's like tending to some wounds that Hanako has. And he calls him by his real human name that he had, which was Yugi Amane. So Amane is his given name and Yugi is his family name. But it was funny at first when he calls him Yugi because it's like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, he's of the Yugi clan.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's time to duel.
That opening is great. Unironically, don't at me.
It's very of the time.
It's such a bop. It's like wow, wow, wow.
I mean, yeah, it's very 90s. It's
yamu 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 yow.
If we're gonna go for that era, I prefer Rock the Dragon personally.
Oh, that one's also pretty good. But so he's like, you need to tell me who's been hurting you like this, but Yugi won't tell him, and he tries to like downplay how bad it is, and it's like, oh no, he's been bullied or something. He's a victim. And he's like, teacher, I got a moon rock. Look at it. And he's like, do you believe it's real? And the teacher's like, nope. And he's like, well, we believe it's real. We believe it's real. So it's good. It's good moon rock. And he opens the window so that you can see the moon through it. And he's like, sometimes I wish I could go to the moon. Wouldn't that be nice? And now he's standing in the window and Tsuchigo Mori looks over and he's like, oh, fuck, like he's going to jump. And he goes to grab him, but Hanako slaps his hand away and the way that it's animated is very poorly timed and I hope they fix it. And it's like a very dramatic slap, but it looks like it's in like not quite slow motion, like the hands didn't actually connect or something.
Oh, okay.
So, he like slaps his hand away and he's like, you know what, teacher? I want to offer you this rock. And he's like, didn't you just say it was really important to you? And he's like, yeah, but you see, when I look at this rock, I feel like I could go anywhere, but I've decided that I'm never going to leave. So you take this. and don't worry about it. And there's a lot of like really dramatic shots of human Hanako, and it's like, what's up with that? Why did you decide that you can never leave? Oh no, it's sad feelings. And Nene wakes up in the office, in like the nurse's office, in the bed, and Tsuchiko Mori is there looking over her, and he's like, yeah, that was my memory attached to my Yorishiro. It happened with Yako too, right? And she's like, wait, so is Hanako the one that changed his future? And he's like, yeah, because I would act like I was worried about him, but I had already seen his future, and I knew that he was going to be okay and grow up to become a science teacher because of his love of astrology. Oh yeah, because he establishes that because it was right around the time of the first moon landing. So they kind of talk about how romantic that was at the time. The idea that you could fucking go to the moon.
Yeah.
Which I think is a nice little detail.
Yeah. And he also establishes that he was never human. But he's been pretending to be human for a long time. He just hangs out among humans as a human, being a teacher.
Yeah, it's very mysterious.
Yeah.
So he was like, I was never too worried about him because I knew that he was going to become a science teacher and he would have been my coworker. And then he gets really sad and he puts his head on the bed. And he's like, he wasn't supposed to die like that. And so somehow he changed his future in a way that caused him to die. And so it's like, oh no, did he kill himself? What happened? And why was that like something that wasn't supposed to happen, but happens? Oh no, it's sad.
It is.
And he leaves, and Hanako and Ko all jump in, and they're like, we're so glad you're okay, Nene. We like you. And Nene hugs him, but she's sad hug him, and he's like, what's wrong?
Was it scary in there?
Yeah, and then he makes like a little like suspicious face looking over to where Tsuchiko Mori went, and then he follows him out into the hallway, and you can see him holding his knife behind his back, and he's like, hey, so did anything weird happen with Nene in your inner chamber zone? And he's like, nothing, just stuff to do with my Yorishiro. And Hanako's like, oh yeah, what is your Yorishiro anyway? And he's like, what do you think it is? And he's like, well, you're a librarian, so a really sexy book. And he's like, shut up. And he's like, yeah, I guess not. And he's like, you never change. And it's like, the end of the episode.
Yeah, it's cute that he doesn't know that his Yaishori is the thing that he gave him.
Yeah, and so he doesn't know that Nene saw his human self now, and it's like, oh no. So, start of episode 7. Nene is like, man, this is too much dealing with this dead boy. I'm just a normal girl. How am I supposed to deal with all this? This is bullshit. And she's out in the garden gardening and with her hoe, and she's like, ooh, this is frustrating. And then Ko arrives, and he's like, Hey, senpai, would you help me make donuts? I just want to make donuts now for no particular specific reason. It's something that I want to do.
I don't get how she doesn't pick up on this. Because they both found out together, but she's just that dumb.
I mean, she at least realizes it by the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's freaking dense. Because they go to the home ec room together and he's made a big old mess. And she's like, why did you want to make donuts suddenly? And he's like, oh, I have a little sister and she just really likes donuts. She's crazy for them. So I'm making them for her. And so she's helping him make donuts. And it gets kind of like, it's trying to be dokey. Like he's holding her hand from behind to help her do it right. And he's like, I know it can be hard seeing all these spirits. I've been able to do it my whole life and it's still weird sometimes. So you can always come to me. And it's like, maintain proper distance. I mean, you're a good bro, but no dokies for you. And she's like, hey, wait, you really know how to do this. I thought you weren't supposed to be good at making them. And, she tells him what she saw in the Yorishiro flashback. And he's like, wow, there really are a lot of things we don't know about Hanako, but we both want to help him. Let's help him together. And then, so they've made beautiful donuts and they're looking good. And then Teru, the big brother, arrives and he's like, hey, Ko, who bought these ingredients for you? And Nene's like, oh, I just had to help him out because he's so bad at cooking. And he's like, what? Ko's a great cook. And then Ko shoves a donut in his mouth and he's like, what's that? You want a donut? Shut up.
I do like, this happens a couple of times in the manga. And each time it happens, Teru is just like immediately distracted from what he was about to say, and he's just off in the background going, yummy.
Yeah, is very powerful. Oh, so he's like, hey, here, take some of these and go give them to Hanako. And then so she kind of turns back to him and is like, oh, is this why you did this whole thing? You just wanted to help Hanako? And he's like, just go. And here they try to shove in some of the stuff that they cut from his conversation with Teru that he was supposed to have while he was saving Hanako from a sword fight. And he's like, I don't think all apparitions are bad, big brother, so I'm gonna do it on my own terms or whatever. Which obviously isn't quite the same after them just making donuts together.
Yeah, it doesn't really carry the same weight.
But meanwhile, Teru, out of the corner of his eye, he sees a little moke sneaking off, and he's like, And it goes back to green-haired girl, and she's like, did you do what you needed to do? And it touches its ears together, and it's like, Maru, like, all green, like I did it. And she's like, good job, little moke, and she's petting it. It's like, oh no, what did you do? And they look over to where Nene and Hanako are on the rooftop together now, and he's like, donuts, I can really have them? Yay! He's very happy about the donuts. And she's like, I've been thinking about various things, and I realized you're a pain in the ass. And I like in the manga that, or they do it in the anime too, because she like says it out loud, and then like the arrow of the speech bubble like just goes through his torso.
Yeah, like it's being punched.
Yeah. And she's like, but you know what? I still want to help you no matter how much trouble you are. I like you, but as a friend.
Yeah, sure.
But he's still like, it makes him all blush happy and it's cute. And he's like, actually, Yashiro, there's something I need to say about you. But then he's interrupted by the evil origami crane. Oh no! And he's like, you're interrupting an important conversation right now. So he slashes it with his knife. But then it's time for evil Hanako. He comes out and he looks like Hanako, but evil and shadowy. And here's the first weird twin-cesty bad touch moment. Because he kind of comes in and he's like, are you happy to see me, Amane? Oh, look, that knife. That's nostalgic. And he kind of like touches Hanako's face, and it's even worse in the anime because like some things just get dragged out more by the nature of like you actually have to have the time of the dialogue going over it, you know?
I was going to say, because this wasn't so bad in the manga.
Yeah. But in the anime, you can like see his thumb kind of moving across Hanako's face like towards his mouth, and it's like just a little too fucking much. And he's like, aren't you happy to see me? And Hanako looks all freaked out. He's like, no. And but then as soon as it's starting to really feel bad touch, Nene comes in with her tea and she's like, get the fuck away from Hanako, no twincest. And she splashes him with her tea and it makes him like dissolve. And he's like, oh, not bad. See you later. And he disappears and he's all dramatic. And it's like, why is she able to make him disappear with the tea? And this hasn't been made clear in the manga yet, but I think that she must have some kind of fucking like shrine maiden genes or something.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I see. I always assumed that Hanako could see Hanako because he was just letting her. But yeah, that doesn't explain why she can see everything else either.
Yeah, well, there's another reason also why she could see Hanako that time. But like, yeah, the fact that, you know, like Tsuchigomori just naturally called her like a kanagi, which is like a shrine maiden, and then it seems like, you know, almost like her throwing water like makes it blessed water.
Yeah.
So I think that something's going on there. I think she's got some kind of special girl special powers.
She's the special girl.
Yeah, she's a very special girl. She's the protagonist.
In the romantic, yeah.
Yeah. So she gets him out of here, but then Hanako's kind of freaking out and he kind of like throws her on the ground and he's like crying over her. And in the manga, it's like, oh, this is the same kind of position that he got in with Ko when he was thinking about killing his brother. But in the anime, it's the first time that he throws someone on the ground.
But then like the second that it happens though, he's really apologetic. He's like, oh, sorry, and he runs away. Yeah,
see, this is another moment that it feels like it takes a little longer in the anime and it starts to feel kind of uncomfortable. But yeah, then you see that he's crying and then he like kind of freaks out and he runs off. And she's like, I didn't even see him in the toilet again that day. All dramatically. but you see him and you see him and he goes and he's crying alone and it's like, oh no, baby. You and your dark murder past. Oh no, you're such a broken boy. Who could heal your heart? and then you see the evil boy go back to green-haired girl and the nya boy. And Oh, and there's totally a continuity error because he turns back into his normal form and he hugs her from behind and he's wearing his normal clothes. And she's like, why are you dressed like that? And then it shows him in Hanako's clothes and he's like, I just wanted to look like my brother for old times. And it's like, haha, continuity error, you dummies. Fix it for the Blu-ray.
That reveal wasn't there in the manga, or at least it wasn't that early. Or maybe that's as far as I've read. No, yeah, because you don't see that.
You totally do, because he comes back and he's like, wow, he was really happy. Amane was really happy to see me, I think, but I can't move so good yet.
You hear that bit, but you don't hear the bit about the brother, I don't think, and you don't see him.
Oh yeah, I guess he might not identify him as his brother yet.
Yeah.
But I guess spoilers, he's his brother.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Hanako just has a fucking straight up evil twin. That's just a thing.
Yeah.
That's a real ass thing.
Yeah. Hey, also, can I go ahead and just throw out my guess for who the person is who's teamed up with one of the seven spirits? Is it Ko's brother?
Mm-mm.
Oh, bugger. Oh.
Ko's brother is very serious about exorcising these evil spirits. He would never. It's beneath him.
I thought he might be lying. I don't know.
But no, it's this Gumi girl.
Oh, I thought she was a spirit.
Well, see, that's a little. I'm not actually sure if she's alive or dead.
Yeah, okay.
She's still very mysterious.
Right. Okay.
But so he turns back into his normal clothes, where he still has Hanako's hat, but he has a more traditional robe with hakama pants kind of look, and he's an evil boy.
Oh no.
And she's sitting by a old-timey radio thing and puts her headset phones on, and he's like, so what kind of rumor are we making today? And it's like, oh, so they've been doing the rumor things. Ooh, mysterious.
I almost just half expect the paper dolls to show up.
Yeah, God, it's fucking Convergent Evolution. It's so similar. So then it cuts to Ko with two of his friends, and they tell him about a locker ghost that will grab your arm and ask you if you've forgotten about it. Woo! And then it happens, but then Ko grabs the arm back, and it's a nervous looking boy now. It's just a normal looking boy. And it cuts back to Nene and Hanako, who are being kind of awkward now. And Ko arrives with Mitsuba. Oh, you haven't gotten to this yet, have you?
No.
Because this is where the fish thing happens in the manga.
Yeah. This is all new for me.
Yeah, so you can't participate in Mitsuba discourse. Because so Ko drags this ghost boy to Nene and Hanako, who are being very awkward after that whole encounter, and he's got him he's got tape over his mouth, and he's like, look, I got this spirit, I caught him. And Hanako's like, so what, are you gonna exorcise him? He's like, I'm not doing that anymore. But so what do I do with this guy? And Hanako's like, well, I guess you could help him with his regrets, and then maybe he'll pass on or whatever. And then Ko's like, great, I'm gonna go do that. So yeah, God, I forget that, this is actually happening a little bit earlier than it happened in the manga. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna help this ghost with his regrets. And he does his most foolish maneuver, which is that he untapes the mouth of this ghost boy. And he goes on into a rant of insulting Ko, where he's like, what the fuck is your problem? You got a stupid... Oh yeah, Ko has an earring that's like a charm, that's a traffic safety charm, which I think is really cute.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. Yeah, it just says, the only English word on it was safety.
Yeah, so apparently it's traffic safety specifically. So yeah, this kid's insulting it, and he goes on this whole rant, and he's like, what, you think you can have your way with me just because I'm a super cute ghost? Like in an Arrow video? Like in an Arrow video? And he's incredibly unpleasant.
Right.
Yeah, so he's just like, blah, 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 and that's how the episode ends. So Mitsuba is this character that... We got into a discussion in the Discord about whether or not he's gay-coded. I think kind of. It's hard to tell to what extent he's gay-coded and to what extent he's supposed to be just a self-obsessed pretty boy kind of character.
It's tricky with anime a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this episode 8 is the fastest fall in love story ever, kind of, for these two, or not really, or kind of. I mean,
sorry, you're having a hard time.
Because Mitsuba is basically going to end up being like the designated ship for Ko.
Right.
And I wish I could support their relationship more, but Mitsuba is just so fucking annoying up front that I'm like, oh, Ko, you need a better boy. Bye, icon. But so Ko wants to help Mitsuba, but Mitsuba is refusing to tell him anything about himself. And Ko's like, God, I want to help you. You know, I'm from a family of exorcists. And Mitsuba's like, you've been watching too much fucking anime. You're creepy. Which that's a pretty good burn. But then Mitsuba eventually admits that he wants to take photos. He has some photos that he never got to take. And so he wants Ko to get his camera that got donated to the photography club, which Ko goes and does. But basically, he's taking photos of various things. And it's funny because in the manga, there's a whole montage of various things that he's taking photos of, but they cut it out of the anime. So they bond over what feels in the anime like 2 hours.
Right.
They go from like hating each other to Mitsuba really liking him. And it feels like super rushed and super wrong. But in the manga, it at least feels like they spent a vague amount of time together.
Right, okay.
So as Ko is holding the camera, one of the classmates comes over and he's like, oh, that was Mitsuba's camera, right? Mitsuba, you know, who died in that accident. You know, we had classes with him the year before. And Ko was like, oh shit, I didn't even recognize him. He's that Mitsuba. Oh fuck, now I feel bad. And so yeah, Mitsuba basically admitted that because he never got along with anyone when he entered middle school, he just did his best to like keep his head low and be the most forgettable guy so as not to cause trouble. But then the result was that nobody cared about him, nobody remembered him.
Aww.
Yeah, and so Ko's like, you know what? You're a jerk and you're stupid and you're blah, 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 but you like taking photos and you're kind of interesting. So if anyone asks me what Mitsuba was like, that's what I'll tell them. So so there, I remember you now. And Mitsuba's like, "Bo," and he's like, do you think if I was still alive, we could have been friends? And Ko's like, why can't we be friends just because you're dead? We could still be friends. And he's kind of hanging out on this landing, and Mitsuba's kind of looking at his back, and he takes a picture of him. And Ko's like, what did you take a picture of just now? And he's like, something important to me, I guess.
Aww.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's pretty gay. and he's like blushing a bit, and so yeah, it's like, oh, does he actually have romantic feelings for him now? It's vague.
See, it's funny, like, hearing this without actually having to see him, this does sound cute. But I'm sure that, like you say, he's such a frustrating character that it throws it off, I suppose.
Yeah, and especially making like jokes about like, oh, you're a sex pervert, blah, blah, blah. Like that's the kind of thing that really rubs me the wrong way. Yeah. Like I don't like jokes being made out about that kind of thing. But also, as we watched this together in the Discord, people had mixed opinions about Mitsuba. Like some people were like, oh, that transition really got to me. But I think most people were just like, that was really fucking rushed. It was like a half an episode, they go from like, who the fuck are you to like, I guess you're important to me.
Yeah.
And it feels like that was over like the course of an afternoon.
So in the manga, is it the same? Is it a bit rushed or?
It's the same except for like all it takes is like a few panels that show like other little shenanigans they had together while he was taking photos. And that's really like all they needed. Like we just need to know that they literally weren't just spending 2 hours together just now.
Yeah, they did a bunch of other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but anime, you fucked that up. So Mitsuba's like, well, let's just develop these photos, and I think once we develop them, that'll be enough for me, and I'll be ready to pass on, basically.
Aww.
And so then they're walking together in a hallway, but then bad, not Hanako appears behind them. Oh no. And he's like, that's no good, Mitsuba. And Ko is like, who's that, Hanako? No, not Hanako. Not my Hanako. And then his name's Tsukasa, by the way. It'll be revealed shortly. And he comes in and he grabs Mitsuba and he pulls his heart out, basically. He like puts his hand through Mitsuba and like pulls some kind of like thread of something. And now Mitsuba has a giant hole in his chest. And Ko's like, hey, what the fuck? And he's like, oh man, see, you thought that was good enough just to know Ko? Is that really good enough for you? I don't think it is. And Ko's like, what's your deal? Who are you? And he's like, well, see, me and Amane, we're kind of like opposites. Amane grants the wishes of the living, and I grant the wishes of the dead. And we're kind of rivals, I guess. And he summons the radio, and he's like, but I think we can do better with this guy. And so then you start hearing the green-haired girl over the radio, and it's like, we're going to change this rumor. And it's like, have you heard the story of the broken neck boy? He'll come to you at the lockers, and he wants to be friends with you, but he'll make you like him. He'll break your neck so you'll be just like him. Ooh. Which is so fucking creepypasta. But like as Mitsuba's hearing that, he's like holding his hands and he's crying out and he's like, no, no. And then he turns into a monster, a big spoopy monster. And it's like, oh no, this isn't what he wanted.
So when he says he grants the wishes of the dead, is he being serious?
He does, but he's like an evil genie kind of guy. He doesn't actually care about them. So it's like he's technically helping Mitsuba grant his wish, but not in a way where he actually cares about Mitsuba.
But also, it's also like Mitsuba didn't actually ask him to do this either.
I think his original appearance as because here Tsukasa says, you really helped me out, Ko, because at first I was only able to make him into this shitty apparition because he had a kind of vague final wish. But you clarified his wish that he didn't just want to be remembered, he really wanted to have friends.
Okay.
And so now I can make him into a much more spoopy monster.
Now I can make a really good post.
Yeah. This is a much stronger creepypasta. It's going to get shared all over. And then so he's kind of like touching this big creepy monster, Mitsuba, and he's like, hey, that's Ko over there. Don't you want to be friends with him? I bet if you make him like you can be good friends. And so Monster Mitsuba like shoots out a bunch of bandage things and wraps Ko up, and he's like gonna hurt him or whatever. And Ko's like, no, Mitsuba, this isn't you. Don't do this. And then Hanako shows up in his cape and he slashes Mitsuba monster down the middle and saves Ko. And he's like, Tsukasa, why are you doing this? So that's the first time you hear him say his name.
Right.
And he like kind of like pushes Tsukasa against the wall and he's like, what's wrong with you? And Tsukasa's like, oh, hey, Amane, it's you. It's been so long. Oh, no, wait, we just saw each other yesterday. So like he seems to have a loose grasp on time. And I'm really curious about his situation because so he's the brother that Hanako killed.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's only appeared as an apparition recently. And he has the black seal on his right cheek, like he's the Yorishiro of Hanako. Mm. But then it's like, but why did he only recently seem to become an active monster guy? And Hanako definitely doesn't seem like he's used to dealing with him. So the circumstances around that are all still very mysterious.
Are we sure he had a brother? Are we sure this isn't like some other like aspect of his personality or something? Or
I really wanted that to be the case for a while, so it would be a little more separated from twincestiness. But as far as I can tell, he was his literal brother that he killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I thought for a while it might be the kind of thing where he committed suicide, and it's like, this is the aspects of yourself that blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But so it's like, oh, technically you did kill him, but because he's you. But no, I do believe, unless they pull some serious bullshit, he is his actual younger twin.
Ah, okay.
He just has a literal ass evil twin. But Amane's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, I just like the look people have when they stop holding back, like when you killed me. And Hanako's very like, no, don't remind me about that. Now I feel bad. And this is like the last time where I feel like it gets really like bad touch with him, because he like kind of grabs Hanako's arms and pulls them apart, and Hanako's crying and it feels kind of uncomfortable. Mm. And after this, Tsukasa acts much more like a fucking feral gremlin child, which I much prefer. but like when he's being more like weird, uncomfortably manipulative with Hanako, I really don't like it. Yeah. So he's like, I like you, Hanako. Let's play together like old times. And then he disappears, and Hanako's like, didn't like that. And Ko's like, Hanako, help Mitsuba. He's double dying. And Hanako's like, there's nothing I can do for him. After all, there's no such thing as a future for us apparitions. We don't have a future. We're already dead. And you can tell he's feeling all sad. And he's like, the only salvation for us is annihilation. And so he like stabs Mitsuba, and Mitsuba disappears. And Ko's like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna find some other way to help apparitions. This is bullshit. It's too sad.
Oh, he's a hopeful boy.
Yeah, there's this whole shot where, like, when Mitsuba passes on, you see this flashback of Mitsuba when him and Ko met in middle school, and he, like, gets up and leaves the room and smiles back at Ko, like he's found peace. But I guess they ran out of budget in the anime because there's just this really slow shot, like, zoomed in of Mitsuba's torso of him standing up slowly. And it's not even fully animated. It's like a time lapse of him standing up. And it takes the amount of time that whole sequence would have taken. It's really bad and it sucks. And then you don't get that feeling that like, oh, at least he like passed on and found peace.
Yeah.
It's weird. So you see Ko at his house at night, and he's on his bed looking at all the photos they developed together, and then he sees that one that's of him from behind, and he remembers Mitsuba saying it was something important to him, and he's like, no, this all isn't right, I have to do something, it's boo, and he cries, and it's cute.
He cries and it's cute.
But also, oh no, sad Ko. So this will become a kind of like philosophical debate between Ko and Hanako that's semi-ongoing, is like, Ko really wants to be like, no, this doesn't have to just be the way things have to be. But Hanako is like, this is just how it has to be. And you can tell that Hanako kind of feels that way as an extension of kind of hating himself and feeling like this is what he deserves because of what he did. And so it's like, no, you deserve better. You can have better. You can do it, Ko. I believe in you.
Aww. So Ko, maybe Ko will be the one that saves him. And then maybe they can hug and Nene can watch.
Don't you fucking get between my babies. Now I'm coming with the knife. I'll make you into kitsune udon.
No, but it's like, Nene is there going, oh no, my two male friends are hugging. Oh no.
Oh, and then she's like, gayness, that's so weird and scary. Oh no. Yeah. And then I cry.
Yes.
And I say, throw it in the garbage after all. No, none of that has to happen. I believe in a better future. I can change fate with my red book. So it's funny because, things are just still awkward between Nene and Hanako after that whole incident with his weird brother. But then it cuts to Nene in class, and a guy shows up to ask her out. And they're like, look, there's an older boy for you. He wants to ask you out. Oh, wow. But it's the evil Nya boy. And so she goes with him, and she's like, so why did you want to ask me out? I don't think we've ever really talked, sir. I don't even know your name. And he's like, well, someone wants to see you because you're so special. And she's like, what could that mean? Also, why are you holding a fishbowl? That's weird. And then Tsukasa arrives from behind and dunks water on her. And she becomes fish. It's a trap. And he like almost eats her as a fish, like he considers it. And that's one of those times where there's like a really lovingly drawn mouth. And it's like, fucking calm down, illustrator person with your mouth fixation. Don't vor this fish. But then the Nya guy is like, hey, put her in the bowl. And he's like, I think she died. And he's like, no, she's not dead. It's fine. But then she wakes up and she's sitting at a table with tea on it, and she's in a different outfit now. She's goth Nene.
Oh.
She's like in like a black dress with like one of her stockings is striped, and she's got a new aesthetic going on. It's like, whoa.
She's been redesigned by Tim Burton.
Oh no, he would like it. And so green-haired girl's there with Tsukasa and Nya boy. And she's like, oh, you're Hanako's girlfriend. And Tsukasa and the Nya boy are like, what? You're dating Hanako? What? And she's like, I'm not fucking dating Hanako. And he's like, aw. So as she explains to Nene that she's like her, but with Tsukasa. She has a special bond with Tsukasa. So if he grants the wishes of the dead, it's like, is she a ghost? Is she a living person that for some reason he made a bond with? We don't know.
It's all mysterious.
Mysterioso. And then it's like, so what about this other guy? And she's like, oh, just pretend he isn't here.
Aw.
And he's like, that's fine. And she's like, I can't, they all seem very normal, but I got to keep my guard up. I can't let him get to me. And then it cuts to half an hour later and she's just been bitching about Hanako the entire time. They're sipping tea and she's like, and he always makes you do this and that and it's awful. And Tsukasa introduces himself to her and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm his younger twin. Did he not tell you about me? And he's like, hey, by the way, have you kissed? You're dating, right? And she's like, no. But so he doesn't seem so dangerous. I guess he's totally fine.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and green hair girl is like, well, since we're so similar, I hope you'll understand. And then suddenly Nene's chair turns into a monster thing and it traps her and she's like, what? And they go to leave and Tsukasa's like, well, Hanako and I are kind of like rivals, right? So I need you to disappear. And she's like, no, don't leave me here. And water is rising. And then she looks to her side and Natsuhiko is also there in a monster chair. And he's like, well, I guess this happened to me too. And he's like, don't worry, it's probably just a test of love from her. I'm not worried about it. But are you worried about it? Are you the kind of person who's okay with dying? You don't seem to be too worried about this situation. And she's like, what? No, I don't want to die. Hanako, save me. But then she blah, 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 blah.
Oh, no.
And oh, yeah, she's dead.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she's dead.
So she wakes up and the Natsuhiko guy, that's his name, Natsuhiko, he wakes her up and they're in this big black void zone with a bunch of different doors. It's actually very Yume Nikki. This whole fucking thing is so fucking RPG Maker horror game. God damn. But they're in the magical door zone, and she's like, "What is this place?" And then one of the moke comes and hands them an old-timey radio, and Hanako is able to talk to her over it. And he's like, "Hey, I can't get to you where you are now. You're in some kind of like place that doesn't exist between dimensions, and it's dangerous there. But you need to find your way back to me. So I'll send one of my little spirit orbs to look for you. But you should look for a door that looks familiar because all these doors they lead to different times and different dimensions. They could go anywhere. So try to find a good door, and I'll try to find you. So do your best." and he like starts cutting out, and then he cuts out, and she's like, what are we gonna do? And Natsuhiko's like, well, we just have to find the right door, right? And he just starts opening random doors, and various dangerous things come out. I do like one of the doors. There's like it's totally the end of Terminator 2. There's like a big lava pit and like a person giving a thumbs up as they're like melting in the lava pit. And in the anime, it even has them saying, "I'll be back."
That's an odd reference for that just to pop up like that.
Yeah, I guess I like Terminator over there.
Ah, it's a classic movie.
Yeah. But Natsuhiko ends up getting pulled into a door with like a bunch of monsters. And then she's like, "Oh no, Natsuhiko." And then, but he gives her the thumbs up from inside the door and he's like, "Good luck." And then he's pulled in and then he's gone. And she's like, "Oh no, I guess he's dead." No, I have a feeling like he's probably not dead. He seems like the kind of guy who doesn't die. But then she hears a familiar music and she finds a door and she's like, "Oh, this is a door to the old school building. This must be the correct door." And so she goes through the door and there's a classroom and she finds Amane there when he was a human, a little human boy.
Oh, no.
And he's looking kind of beat up and he's crying in the corner. And she's like, "Oh no, why are you crying?" And he's like, "Who are you?" And he's all embarrassed that he got caught crying and he runs away, but he drops a keychain with a key and a rocket keychain on it. And she picks it up and she's like, "Wait." But then Hakujodai finds her, the spirit orb, and she's teleported out of there and she's like, "No."
I was about to learn secrets.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So she has that key now, and that key still hasn't come back up in the manga.
Oh.
And I'm like, fucking, what's that fucking key for? You better not have forgotten about it, manga guy. It's gotta be super important. The longer you put it off, the more important it has to be. What she uses that key is gonna open Hanako's heart.
What if it never comes back again? What if it was just a furphy?
Then I'll cry. Because, yeah, it is definitely like, I do wonder how well the manga is planned out. Because we finally have met all of the school wonders in the manga. So I'm like, are we getting to the end game? Is it just going to keep going on? Do you have like a plan in mind for the end game? Oh, I hope so. Oh no, I forgot what it's like to read an ongoing thing and not know.
Yeah, it's You always got to worry, like you said before, you've always got to worry about that with manga and stuff. Sometimes it's just like, because of the way manga works as a business, sometimes if they have an ongoing thing, they're just like, well, we're just going to make this run for a while. Sorry about whatever plan you had. Maybe you didn't have a plan.
Don't do it, mangaka. You gotta bring him to a satisfying smoochy ending. I demand it. But she teleports back into the bathroom where so Hanako's successfully summoned her back. And for some reason, he's in his battle cloak. I don't know if he just wanted to impress her or what. But he's like, well, I've been wanting to apologize to you for the other day I ruined your donuts and everything. I'm sorry, Nene. And he hugs her and he magically changes her clothes back to her regular clothes. And he's like, I like this Nene better. And she's like, oh, I need to learn more about him and his past and all that shit. And he's like, welcome back, Yashiro. And you know, like he does the okaeri. And she's like, Hanako always saves me. What a good guy. And she does the tadaima, like I'm back. And it's cute. And she's like, I want to protect him like he protects me.
Ah, yes. I must save the boy.
Yes, you gotta save that broken boy. You gotta save him with the power of blood. And then after credits, you see Tsukasa, he's like smooshing bugs. I guess they're like spirit bugs and just like dragging their spirit juices across the wall, being a fucking creeper. Just so you know, he's not good. But then he looks over to a mirror, all like, maybe we can do better this time. It's like, ooh, something mirror related. How mysterious.
This is probably an odd question, but what sort of ending does this have?
This anime?
Yeah, because obviously the manga's not done. So...
Oh, yeah, it's very much like this is the end of this season. And I have no fucking idea if there's going to be a season 2. I hope so, but I assume it's one of those things where it's based on how well the season 1 does.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't try to give it like a gecko ending or something.
Suddenly Nazi Germany.
Oh no, not again. It keeps happening.
I'd love it if that was just the default. Every time we don't know how this is going to end, it's like, well, we'll just go to Nazi Germany. It's a good setting.
I mean, people still praise that anime, even though it had a split off ending. So I guess that's the way to go. Everybody cries a lot, and then you go to Nazi Germany. Or technically, it was World War I Germany. It wasn't Nazi Germany until the movie.
Oh, really?
Where you get to find out that Hughes is a literal Nazi.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah, the first thing ends. It's not World War II yet.
Oh, okay. Not to derail for too long, but I do love how, like, you always find people who are really upset by the whole daughter and dog thing.
Daughter and dog?
You know, the guy who fuses.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it was because I never watched either of the anime. I just read the manga of Full Metal, and I don't know if it just has less impact in there, but like it was never the big deal. It was like, oh, that happened. That's terrible. But like, I wasn't like, oh no. The way everyone carries on about it is like, I don't know.
Yeah, everyone does always. It was always like, oh, that really fucked me up. I don't remember. I feel like they actually make you feel the impact of it better in the original anime, where it's like they take several episodes really getting to know those characters.
Yeah, so in the manga, it's like what I think it's like in Brotherhood, where it's just sort of it's like one chapter. You don't spend much time with them at all.
Yeah, I think they put them in some more like filler and stuff in the original anime.
Maybe that's what it was, yeah. Because it's very clear. It's just like a quick one shot sort of, this guy's a fuck, bye.
Here's a fucked up kind of alchemy.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Whatever, people. So episode 10 starts with Nene brings a photo book into the bathroom, and she's like, look at these weird photos. There's something wrong. There's all these creepy arms in them. What's up with this? And they're like, I don't know, they look kind of funny. And she's like, yeah, maybe that's not so bad, but lately, ever since I saw these photos, these arms, they've been stalking me. They keep growing out wherever I am. Look at them. And then you see a bunch of magical spirit arms by the window. Ugh. And she's like, what do I do about these? They're creepy.
Something like that. It's like, hey, these are gross. We got to do something.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, it doesn't seem like they're hurting anyone. She's like, yeah, but they're creepy. And Ko's like, I'll take care of him, senpai. And so he walks over to one of the arms and he challenges it to an arm wrestling match. And they're like, why arm wrestling? It's like, I guess that's the only way he can think of to fight an arm. But he loses. The arm kicks his ass at arm wrestling, but then it disappears. And Hanako's like, well, I guess maybe like all these arms just want to like play. And if we amuse them, they'll go away. So I guess we'll just fuck around with these arms for a while. And so they do, and most of the arms are gone, but there's only one arm left. And Ko is looking at this book of photos of the gardening club, and he notices that the person who took all the photos was Mitsuba. Mitsuba returned.
Oh.
Because it turns out he's only kind of double dead forever. So there's one more arm I'm gonna have to talk more about, but it's coming out of a mirror, and it pulls Nene into the mirror, and they're both like, Nene, no! And she's in some kind of creepy nega zone, and then you see Mitsuba here, and it's like, whoa, how's Mitsuba here? He double died forever. So you'll find out how this Mitsuba, and it's not quite. But I do wonder if they made an excuse to reintroduce Mitsuba because like a lot of people got invested in that ship, or if this was always going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a weird beat to have him double die forever and then to be like, anyways, here's another Mitsuba.
Yeah, he's just back.
Don't worry, he can still be shipped with Ko. It's fine.
Yeah, like because if you're going to have supernatural characters, you do want some sort of finality. Like, they need to be at risk somehow.
Yeah. And they make a decent excuse for it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of eyebrow raising. But she pegs him as a handsome boy, so obviously she's instantly interested in him. But he's kind of being a dick like he is. And bleh. And he's like, by the way, this is the hell of mirrors. I've been trapped here. I don't know how to get out of here. Will you help me get out of here? And she's like, yeah, I'll save you. And she's like, I gotta impress this guy. Hey, do you know about boundaries? I've been in tons of boundaries. I can tell you all about them. And so she like goes on a whole rant explaining boundaries to him. And he's like, wow, why do you know so much about him? You fucking creepy. and so he's being a little shit. And then suddenly from one of the mirrors, an evil Aoi appears, and she's like, oh, look, it's Nene. Look at your stupid fat legs. We've all been talking about it behind your back in class. We're all just gonna call you Daikon from now on. Ooh. Oh, no. And then, so you, like, not diegetic, but you hear what the school's third mystery is. And it's the hell of mirrors. It will reflect whatever's in your heart. So if you have a pure heart, you can get out, no problem. But if you have darkness and self-loathing or whatever in your heart, it will reflect it back at you and use it to hurt you.
No.
So, of course, because all she fucking thinks about is her fat legs, that's what it shows to her.
It's the thing she's most worried about.
Yeah. There's a gag manga that doesn't get translated into the anime, but like they show what all the characters, what their ideal version of themselves is. And Hanako is like a Hanakozilla. He's just a big kaiju.
Yeah.
Ko is like a muscly boy. And Nene is like this fucking horned up, like sexy girl. And she's like got her finger to her mouth, but she's still like, my legs are fat.
Yeah.
Which I do find that really funny for some reason. Like, no matter how sexy she is, even in her imagination, she's complaining about her fat legs. Fucking stupid.
I don't know. I feel like I think people who are self-conscious always have one body part they're kind of obsessed with.
No, yeah, totally.
Yeah, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It is funny, though.
Silly. And so it cuts to Hanako and Ko is just like banging his staff on the mirror trying to get in. Hanako's like, cut it out. He's like, but we gotta go save Senpai. And Hanako's like, that's number 3's domain, but, you know, I probably shouldn't go in there because it'll just make it more dangerous because I've got so fucking much angst.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'll power it with my angst.
So they need someone pure to go after her?
Yeah, how are they going to get in there? But meanwhile, back in mirror hell, Nene pulls Mitsuba in front of the mirror and she's like, your turn, you do it instead. But the mirror doesn't reflect anything for Mitsuba. And she's like, oh, so we have to find the Yorishiro and destroy it so we can get out of here. And then evil Aoi appears again and she's like, oh, if it's the Yorishiro, it's up there on the ceiling. You could get there by coming through this mirror, but this mirror only allows beautiful people through. Oh, how awful. I guess you can't come through.
Aww.
And then a bell chimes and some kind of bird face man appears and he's like, oh, wouldn't it be best if you stopped existing? I'm going to go ahead and take your place. And then a bunch of mannequins come out of the mirrors and attack them and are like, switch places with us, switch places with us. And at first Mitsuba runs away, but then he does try to save Nene by throwing something at the mannequins, but it doesn't help very much. And then he tries to run away again and he's like, ah! And Nene is grabbed by some giant hands and Mitsuba's like, no! And he cries out for help. And then Tsukasa arrives, the evil twin, and he saves them. And he just like straight up, oh yeah, so the Birdman, that's the spirit, is sticking his head out of a mirror, and Tsukasa just straight up grabs it and smashes it into the ground over and over and over.
Wow.
Which, yeah, is pretty fucking intense. Oh, he also, when he arrived to turn Mitsuba into a monster, he also smashed Ko's head into the wall. So that's like his go-to move, is just like really quickly smashing someone's head into something, which is pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah, it is kind of.
Yeah, so like it shows like off screen, like her and Mitsuba are just reacting to just like smash, smash, smash. And then he comes over and comforts Mitsuba. He's like, "Aw, you poor guy. Look, you're so weak. It's gonna be okay." And then he's like, "That's not Hanako, what the fuck?" And that's the end of that episode.
Ah, okay.
So episode 11, Tsukasa goes over to the dead Birdman and he pulls his heart out and he's like, "Here, Mitsuba, you want to get stronger, right? So you can exist outside the mirrors, because right now you're too weak to eat this heart." Ooh. And he's like, "I don't want to." And it cuts to Hanako and Ko, and they're asking Tsuchiko Mori, the spider librarian man, for help getting into the mirrors. And he's like, "My domain is books. I can't really do much for you. But Yako has control over various kinds of space, so she can probably help you." And she's like, "No, I don't want to help you. I'm a little angry fox. Me, me, me." And that's when Hanako threatens her with kitsune udon. But God, the delivery in the anime is so fucking good, because she's like, "No," he's like, "Kitsune udon, udon, udon," while he's like slinging his little knife at her, and it's really fucking cute. Yeah, so now she's gonna help him. And so she takes them to her realm, so she's like, her realm still exists, but she just doesn't have as much control over it anymore. And it's actually kind of pretty now. There's flowers everywhere and a nice white staircase. And so she's leading them up it. And Ko is like, "So what was it like to be, your rumor was changed by the evil rumor thing. What was that like?" And she's like, "What a fucking rude question." And Hanako's like, "He just wants to know because he had a friend who that happened to." And she's like, "Well, it wasn't like full mind control. It kind of just brought out the worst in me. That part of me was always there. But that means that I'm sure if you said something to him in that state, he definitely heard you. So,
Interesting.
Yeah. So Tsukasa is trying to make Mitsuba eat the heart, and then it runs over and she's like, "No, stop it. Don't you see he doesn't want to do it?" And Tsukasa like grabs her head and comes like really close to smashing her face in the ground. But then he's like, "Oh wait, I'm not supposed to hurt girls." And so he's like, there, and he pats her on the head, and then he like pokes her in the face and she falls asleep. But it's like, I really like that, like very quick, almost like smashing her fucking head into the ground transition.
Whoops, hang on, sorry.
Yeah, oh shit, not supposed to kill girls, here you go. Anyway, I'm a good boy. So then Ko and Hanako arrive and pop out. Yako doesn't arrive with them, so I guess she just kind of shoved them through some spirit door and was like, "I don't need to fucking be a part of the rest of this." No, thank you. Sorry,
every time you say Yako, I just think of Yako from Animaniacs.
No!
It's too close.
Absolutely not. I'll destroy you. So, because between him putting her to sleep and Ko and Hanako arriving, like some time passed. So Mitsuba has eaten the guy's heart now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh no!" And they show up and they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is happening over there?" And Tsukasa comes back and he's like, "Did you finish eating?" "Oh, it's Amane. Hey, Amane, it's been so long." Or has it? I don't remember. And he's just very excited to see his brother. But he doesn't do any bad touch this time. Very proud of you. And he explains that he made this Mitsuba by Because when he took the piece out of Mitsuba that made him turn into a monster, he's like, that was a piece of his soul that I took out. It was his reason for being. And I combined that with other stuff, and I made a fake person out of him. And so it's not really him, but it's kind of him. Close enough. And Ko's like, why the fuck would you do that? And he's like, I don't know, I just thought it'd be interesting to make a fake person. And he's like, how dare you? It's fucked up. So Tsukasa's like, hey, Mitsuba, don't you want to be stronger so that you can exist and not be disappeared? And Mitsuba's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, now you're rumor number 3. Congratulations. And Mitsuba's design changes so that he has like some feather things on and like big skeletal arms coming out of his back. He has like 2 big magical skeletal arms that he can attack with. And he has like a cloak on.
Right.
It looks like kind of a mess in the anime, to be honest. It doesn't look so bad in the manga. Because there's eyes and stuff. It's just kind of busy. And he's like, so I can do anything I want now? I'm super powerful? My wish is to be a normal human. And Hanako's like, you can't do that. And he goes all Kate mode, and he's like, spirits can never become normal humans again. It's not right. And you were never even a human. You're just a pure apparition. You can't become a normal human. And Tsukasa's like, are you sure you want to go against him here in his realm? He's going to be pretty strong now. And but then like it cuts over to Mitsuba, and he's running, and he's like trying to back away slowly, and Tsukasa's like, what are you doing? And he's like, how am I supposed to fight a guy with a knife? He's got a knife. It's just like, it was pretty good. And Ko goes and grabs Mitsuba, and he's like, Mitsuba, do you not remember me? And Mitsuba doesn't remember him at all, of course, because this is like, it doesn't contain whatever would have had those memories.
Right, of course.
Yeah. And Ko shows him the photography book, and he's like, this is you. Try to remember. But he doesn't. And Tsukasa's like, come on, fight him. And so they do start fighting a bit, but Nene, who's still unconscious, she almost gets smashed by some falling rubble, but then Mitsuba protects her with his big skeleton arms. And she wakes up, and she's like, what, Mitsuba? And he's like, look at me, I became strong. And it's clearly like, no, you look like a fucked up monster person, kind of. And he's like, it's going to be good. It's going to be all okay. And then so he kind of kicks him out of his boundary, and you can tell, it's like to save them.
Right.
And he does like a little like shush motion, like you all get out of here. And that's the end of that episode.
Right.
And the thing is, this whole thing happens way later in the manga. There's another like super big important arc that happens before it, and I'm not quite sure why they pushed this specifically up.
It does feel a little out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's not that strong of an arc. It's the other one's like way more important to Nene and Hanako and everyone. So my main guess is that they just wanted to establish this character so that they could start selling merch of it, and people can feel free to ship Ko and him and get excited.
Yeah, weird.
Don't worry, he's not double dead forever. He's kind of double dead forever, but now he's back. It was close enough.
Yeah.
But it's time for the last episode.
Yeah, again, this feels weird.
Yeah, again, it's very, this is just some stuff for season 1. Which, like, I don't know how you figure out if something's going to have a second season. I guess it does just depend on Blu-ray sales. But then I don't know why you would arrange it this way if you didn't know you were going to have a second season.
Yeah, but I can see why you want to avoid geckos as well.
No, yeah, definitely.
It's more like you want some sort of finished arc, I guess. But like, and if you don't have one, then you gotta, maybe they thought this was a better arc or something. Who knows?
Yeah, because so episode 12 is completely disconnected from all that Mitsuba stuff, and it's time for that fish thing to happen way later. And so it cuts to Nene back home with her hamster, whose name is Black Canyon. They established that she always gives weird English names to her hamsters. And it's been 3 days since the Mitsuba incident, and it's like Ko told us about his history with Mitsuba and stuff, and he vowed that he was going to figure out some way to help this kind of Mitsuba guy.
Right, okay.
And she's thinking about it, but then you see a dramatic shot of a puffer fish with a mustache peeping out from a puddle in the darkness, and he's like, "We found you, our princess."
Oh, so they've only just gotten to this now.
Yeah. See, because there's a kind of like decent Doki Doki emotional beat that this arc ends on, so I think they really wanted to end the anime with that.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of, I don't know. So Hanako is worried about Nene now because she seems very introspective, and Nene is worried about Ko, and she's like, how can we cheer Ko up? I'm really worried about him. And Hanako is like, he's re-braiding her hair in the middle of class, because at first he starts undoing her braid, and she's like, oh, I just did that braid this morning. And I was like, he just want to fucking touch her hair. But then he hugs her from behind, and he's like, you aren't worried about me? You know, I was lonely without you. I was really worried about you while you were stuck in that mirror hell. Were you worried about me? And it's like, oh, the dokes. But then, of course, whenever there's a good dokie, they have to fucking end it on a gag. So he braided her hair into like this stupid big daikon-shaped braid on top of her head. Aww. But also, what did the other students see then? Did they just see her hair floating up into a weird shape? Yeah. And so she's thinking about like, there's so much I don't understand about Hanako. Maybe I could understand if I was also an apparition. And then the fish appear, and they're like, that's our cue. We're popping out of your desk. We made a magical puddle in your desk. We're popping up. We're like, hey. And she's like, what the fuck? And so she runs out of class, and it cuts to her hanging from a tree, and she's like, don't touch me. What do you want, fish? And they're like, we serve the mermaid, you know, the one from the first episode, which I guess that's also, they felt like it would be a good bookend.
Yeah, I suppose.
But they're like, we want you to be our next princess. You have a pact with Hanako, but you also still have a pact with her in some way. So you should come live. If you drink her blood that we'll offer you, you will become the next princess, and your pact with Hanako will be overwritten. You'll be free from your pact with him. And she's like, that doesn't sound kind of good. And they're like, we'll give you time to think about it. Bloop, 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 bloop. So, but then you see the spirit orb reporting back to Hanako, and he's like, I see. Oh no, this is troubles. And so then Nene goes to different people for advice. She goes to Aoi, she goes to Yako, she goes to Tsushigamori sensei, and she's basically looking for someone to tell her not to do it, but they all just are encouraging her to do it.
Yeah, I saw the teacher being like, look, sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, he's like, well, I mean, in terms of career counseling, this sounds like a pretty stable gig. Sounds pretty good to me. And she's like, no, you're supposed to tell me no. Hey, wait, can you tell me about Hanako's past? Because there was this boy and he was named Tsukasa, but Hanako wouldn't tell me anything about it, and I need to know. And he's like, if he didn't tell you, he probably doesn't want you to find out, but you have to make your own decision about all this, but I'm not going to tell you. And then so she leaves, and he pulls the curtain back, and Hanako was there, and he's like, well, what are you going to do about it, Hanako? Been listening in, and he's like, and so she's back out in the yard with fish, and they want the answer, become a princess, and she turns them down, and they're like, but why? I mean, you know, if you come and become princess, we have all kinds of suitors for you, all kinds of men who would like to be your boy. And she's like, hot boys, huh? and she does a very like trying not to look like she's interested, but they're like, we have pictures of them, and she's like, well, I guess it couldn't hurt to look. And of course they're all fish. And she's like, wait, the people that you want me to date are all fish? And then they pull her into the water, and they're like, yes, this, your beautiful form. Forgo that stupid human form and be a fish forever.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And they're like, look at how Hanako mistreats you. You've never had much going for you. You could do so much better as a fish. And also, you'll be popular. And like, so being popular in Japanese is motte. And so they're like, you'll be motte. And she's like, motte? Motte? And it's kind of implied they're like kind of hypnotizing her. And so they offer her the fish blood, and she's about to drink it. And it's funny because Crick pointed out that it's in like a little fish-shaped thing that almost looks like
one of those soy sauce things? I saw, yeah.
Yeah, so they're squeezing it out, and she's like about to eat it with her tiny fish mouth, but then she's fished out by a fish net, and Hanako catches her, and she turns back into a human, and he's like, I can't let you do that. And they're like, no, you fiend. And he's like, well, you see, Nene likes me. So you can't have her. And he threatens the fish, and they flop away. And he's like, what, you were just gonna go with them? Did you want some kind of fish harem? What's going on here? But then she admits, she's like, I don't understand you, Hanako-kun, and I thought maybe if I was an apparition, I could understand you better. And I know I probably don't mean anything to you, but And he's like, that's not true. When you said that you liked me on the rooftop several episodes ago, that was the first time a girl ever told me she liked me. Of course, this was supposed to go right after that scene.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he's like, I had a little brother, but I killed him. Do you really want to know more about me? If so, I'll tell you someday, but until I'm ready, will you stay my assistant? And he puts out his pinky, and she pinky promise. So they promise that he'll definitely tell her someday, but she'll be his assistant for now.
How dokey.
Yeah. And then so it kind of it transitions into like the voiceover ending kind of situation where you see how different people are doing. And then you see the baddies again in their radio room, and they're like, what kind of rumor are we going to make today? And Mitsuba's hanging out with them now. And Ko's just thinking about how he's going to do something to help Mitsuba, dang it. He's going to think of something. And you see his big brother looking in on him, and Moke arrives with little veggies for Ko from Nene. And he's like, I guess he's doing okay. Guess I'll stay aside for now. And then Nene's like, Nene hears some people talking about the urban legend of Hanako-san, and she's like, but I know some things about Hanako-san that no one else knows. He's like rude, and he's blah blah blah, and also he's my friend. And so it cuts to her like she's like knocking, and she's like, Hanako-san, and he's like, yeah, hey, and she's like, hey, and they hold hands, and it's pretty cute and dokey, and it ends on that note of them holding hands, and it's all like romantic lighting or whatever.
Right, and that's, yeah.
It's still kind of a weird beat to end a season on, I think.
It's a bit weird, yeah.
It's a little forced.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense they wanted to drag that moment out later, so they had to shove a bunch of the later stuff in between.
Yeah, it still feels like there's other things that I would have rather they did instead of what they did, but it's kind of spoilers to talk about. By the way, if you haven't guessed, guys, you should read the fucking manga. You gotta go read the manga. You gotta read the manga, and then you gotta talk to me about the dokies.
Why not just take the tree and put that second last?
Yeah, the tree would have made a good, pretty final thing.
Yeah, like you do the thing with the tree, and then her saying she likes him. Put all of that at the end, because that gives you like a little romantic sort of beat towards the end.
Yeah,
and a bit of drama.
There's also, oh wait, no, I know why that couldn't go. There's like so before Mitsuba comes in, there's a really big important arc that I think it ends on like a bit more of a dun 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 note, but I think that would have been a decent season ender. And I don't know, you'll have to catch up on the manga, and then we can talk about the decisions that were made. Phoenix, I'm so glad you like it. Phoenix.
Of course I like it. I'm a romantic sap.
Yeah. Doki doki bibis.
I can deal with manga romance teen bullshit.
Yeah, because like, oh god, yeah, Mitsuba and Tsukasa, you both get better later. Hate you when you first show up. Hate the weird bad touch. Hate whatever the fuck Mitsuba is. But oh yeah, god, there's so many things that happen later in the manga that I really hope they do get adapted into the anime. But even then, I would still want people to read the manga version, obviously, because it's so fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Anime is still worth looking at, though, right?
Yeah,
like it's pretty enough that it's worth looking at.
Yeah, that's definitely like, ideally, I want people to consume both, but obviously that's a lot to ask. So if someone could only do one version, I would say the manga. If they're like, I'm not going to get to the manga, then you could check out the anime and see how you feel about it. But you should really read that fucking manga, though.
So if you are someone out there who listens to Cube, and you've ever wanted to talk to her, I would recommend reading the manga real quick because she's willing to talk to anyone who's read the damn thing.
Talk to me about Hanako-kun. Talk to me about the doggies. Talk to me about a picture perfect arc. That sure was an arc. Wow, the clock arc. Can you believe they cut that from the first season? But the revelations contained therein. Whoa. Only the Hanako kids will understand this.
Well, that's Hanako.
Yay!
Cube, so like, don't like, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I give it 10 out of 10 Doki Doki Toilet Ghosts.
So when are you gonna do a romance comic now?
God.
Or a romance horror? You've talked before about wanting to do like a horror something, haven't you?
Yeah, someday I'd like to do an action horror comic because I do like a spoops. And I do think manga specifically is much better about spoops than anime. Anime, it's really hard to do good horror in. But Hanako is just kind of like the flavor of horror mostly. Like it's kind of spoopy, but it's mostly as like a cool, edgy setting for romance.
Yeah, exactly. All right. This is possibly the longest podcast we've ever done.
Yeah. Well, hey, we might be able to cut it down to just over 3 hours.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, let's fucking end this thing. Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to me talk about Hanako-kun.
See
Bye.
you. See you.